Slight board issue, but it seems to be resolved now.
As long as it's fixed, that's all that counts.
Yes, so we are on the air here. It's Erik Nagel, and that is me. 866-969-1969 is the phone number if you choose to call and interact with the show. Many don't. Many don't. But don't be one of those followers.
No, do not.
Be the one that stands out in the crowd. Be the Donald Trump of this listener audience and call into this show.
Just don't call us stupid or idiots.
The raving lunatic of the group?
Don't tell them what to do. If they want to call in here tonight, if you want to call in and say Gittle's stupid and an idiot, feel free to do so. It's your American right.
Oh, man. Thanks, Eric. It is your right, though. Please call me stupid.
He's sticking them on you.
Follow the show here on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. It's Erik Nagel. Follow all those things and some good stuff. The videos are coming along on the YouTube. Stuff's getting updated. All the Comic-Con shows are up there finally. So both from San Diego, the one from Miami.
Awesome.
All up there, so you can go check that out. Interviews and all the stuff going up there as we can get them done. Matt OG is always here on this show with me, and he's sitting right over there.
I am indeed. How are you this evening?
Thanks for dressing up today for the show.
Listen, it's hot out.
I know.
It's like 90 degrees out.
But did you wear that to work?
No, of course not. I have to wear, a tie.
You were
going
to have major cool points with me if you did wear that to work. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. There you go, Lisa.
How'd you get through the metal detector with those guns?
Oh, come on now. Now you're being silly.
Is that you on your shirt?
No, it is not me.
That
on
is
my
him on
shirt.
his
No, that's the symbol for his bearded mafia that he's part of.
Not a bearded mafia.
I want to be part of the
bearded
bearded mafia.
It's not the bearded mafia.
It's the bearded Illuminati.
It is
do they
not
have
the
girls
bearded
in that
Illuminati.
club?
They do. They do.
You know what, Gittles? You could be part of it. You do have a very well-kept beard.
It's not well kept, but I have a very big beard.
Okay.
You're
He's
knocking
a very beard.
I'm not knocking the bearded mafia. I'm terrified of them.
You're not.
Yeah.
They just raised like $10,000 for St. Jude's over the past.
I know,
week.
and I donated.
See, so there you go.
I didn't donate it, but had I known, I would have donated.
It's all just fake beards for kids.
That's it.
I was just going to ask if they had some kind of charity ball at a VFW that I could buy tickets for.
You just give them the woolly willy things and just gotta put the beard on them with
Right.
the magnets.
You're all
But Matt
terrible.
OG is here.
Yeah, I am.
He's Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow him, and he always has some fun, cool stuff. Except for lately, he's been taking a lot of weird posed beard photos that I've been very fascinated, and I'm one of the first people to like them. I'm not knocking them.
All right.
But their whole new beard subculture that you're into is fascinating to me.
It's interesting. So there is this whole weird subculture, and they're all very friendly. And so, but they tag you in things like 3-word story or
he shaved his
stop,
head
drop,
and he grew his face. I don't get
That's
it.
what happens.
Look, shaving my head was just a decision because I was tired of being like half bald.
Right.
And I couldn't grow it anymore. So it was like, well, I might as well take the rest off. It was one or the other. It's the halvesy thing was bothering
Then
me.
when did you decide to dress like, an old-timey guy at the beach?
I'm just wearing a tank top, for Christ's sake.
He has a photo
Jeez.
up on his. Check out Matt's Instagram, Geek Stuff OG on Instagram. There's a photo where you're wearing. I think you're wearing the shirt
I
that you're
am
wearing right
yeah.
now. And he look. Matt's been going to the gym for many, many months, and I've been a lazy tub of shit. But Matt has gone at 5 a.m, and we talk before Opie and Gym start, and I'm on my way in, and you're usually leaving the gym to go home to get ready and what have you. And I give Matt all the credit in the world for doing that, for having the willpower and being consistent with it.
Sure.
And I'm not afraid to say you look very nice.
Thank you.
He's got a good body on him. I wish he would press it close to me. What? So he's posing on this photo there.
Look at that. I've got it.
He's doing.
There you go.
He's doing the.
Oh, wow, yeah.
What's
I like it
usually
right
a
now.
girl
Same
move
shirt.
in the bathroom, where you use your phone to take a selfie off the mirror to reflect everything that you're doing or posing. So he's rocking the gun there with is that a Green Arrow
It is.
tattoo
It's my
on
Green
your
Arrow
bicep there?
tattoo.
So he has that and the bearded mafia shirt that he's wearing, but his whole look, it's like Matt's just going down some weird rabbit
Can
hole.
I at least defend the picture? So the picture was, again, it was a hashtag on Instagram for, it's a young kid who has leukemia, and for everybody that took the photo and did the hashtag, someone was donating like $20. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll take a photo. And,
Look at me so I can send it to everybody. And do the pose that you had.
Yeah,
in
do the
mind.
pose.
There you go. Hold
Flex.
on.
Is
There
that
we
the
go.
same pose?
It was similar,
That's
yeah,
close.
because it was like
yeah.
I forget what the name of the pose was. It was like a victory pose or something
yeah.
for Matthew. Was the name of the cause? So it's a charity. I don't feel bad doing things for charity.
No, for charity, I wasn't aware it was a charitable
Yes.
thing. I just thought Matt's losing his mind.
So you just looked at the picture and didn't actually read any of the text.
No, because I was fascinated, one, by trying to figure out the tattoo on your arm, and I'm like, I think that's Green Arrow, but I couldn't get a close enough view of it. Because you can't zoom in on photos on Instagram unless you do the screenshot and then save it. And
it's not the same.
Whole process.
There's a whole process.
You know, yeah.
It's all
but
pixelated.
then I know you shaved your head not too long ago, and the beard's doing very well.
Yes.
And I'm like, Matt's really making a lifestyle change.
No, look, the beard has been going on for like 2 years now, and the head, that's what it was. I was half bald, and it was annoying me. It was
now
really
you're all
bothering
bald.
me.
Yeah.
And I had the halo. I looked like a fucking monk. So I had to make a decision. It was
You gotta do it. You can't have the half donut thing
That's
going
what I'm
on.
screaming. So I just decided to buzz the rest of it off.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right.
I go to a nice barber shop. They put me in the chair with the hot towel. He uses the old-fashioned razor, and
Do you
it's
park your penny farthing outside and go inside?
Do you have the bicycle with one really big tire and
big
one
wheel.
tiny little
That's
tire?
a penny farthing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. All right.
I wear my
We're on the same
steampunk
page,
goggles
Giddles.
while I
Yes,
go
I'm
we
just
are.
a step behind.
Giddles lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah, do you have another sort of in shape, not in shape guy that you guys do those tumbles and barbells?
We
And
just like flip around and lift them up and down.
I'm going to get a onesie striped bathing suit next.
Yes, that's what the old-timey guys wore to the beach.
That's it. That's
you know
what
when
I'm gonna
women
get.
had those little water closets that brought down to the water so they could leave, so you couldn't see their ankles?
We should just have Matt walk around the streets like pretending to yell, and then we all just hold up signs for what he's actually saying.
Carrying a big fake dumbbell that says 2 ton. So continuing around the room, Giddles is back. How are you, sir? You were not here last week.
Yeah, I had a family reunion out in Jersey, so I was down there for a couple days.
That sounds like hell.
It was interesting. I'll put it out there. It was a very interesting time in Jersey. I have a kind of crazy family. They're pretty big, so.
And it's Jersey, so.
And it's Jersey, yeah.
So that's hit or miss.
What's the name of your group? I'm trying to put this out on the social media.
It's the Bearded Villains.
Bearded Villains.
Is the name of the
Not
group.
Mafia. Hang
Not
on.
Mafia.
Continue
different.
with what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh,
to
yeah, no,
interrupt.
and I was just down in Asbury Park, walked around the boardwalk for a little bit, went to a pinball museum, so it was all right. Can't really complain.
Nice. Oh, yeah, there was that awesome pinball museum
Yeah, and they
down
have like
by
all
Asbury,
the
right?
pinball machines from like the 60s through like now.
And there's a handful you could actually play, right?
You can play all of them.
Oh, you can play all of them?
every
Oh, I thought
single
there were
one.
some that were like museum quality, like.
No, you go in there and it's
rare.
like $10 an hour and you just play all the games. Just walk up to them and start playing them.
I love pinball. I could play
pretty.
pinball all
Who
day.
doesn't? I've been really seriously thinking about. You've seen my basement.
You could fit a pinball
I have
machine
a
down
like
there.
no
20
easy
pinball
I have
machines.
well, it's not a high ceiling. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
think it's only like an 8-foot ceiling.
You don't
or
need a
something
high
like that.
ceiling for pinball. You're not leaping.
No, I understand that, but I have a lot of stuff down there that I'm gonna make some time to get
feel
rid
you.
of everything.
Yeah.
But I was really eyeing up maybe purchasing the Simpsons pinball machine.
Oh, you should
Yes.
totally do it.
You have to do that.
And it's not one of the shittier pinball machines.
No, it's a decent
You know,
machine.
there's a lot of pinball machines. Look, I'm a pinball guy like you. I love it. If there's any arcade that still exists, I make a beeline either to skee ball or to pinball.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of awful pinball machines.
Yeah, there's some bad ones.
Camelot.
Right, but there's also a lot of great pinball machines, some that people wouldn't even think would be a good pinball machine. Twilight Zone, Addams Family,
Yeah,
right?
Addams
that
Family's
Terminator
a good one.
2.
Terminator 2 is very.
a good
Is that the
one,
one?
That's the
is
one you
that
got the gun
Yeah, it has
trigger?
the
Yeah.
gun to shoot the ball. Right.
Wizard of Oz is awesome.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good too.
I have not played that one. There's a
Addams
place in
Family's the
Manhattan that I haven't been there in a long time, but there's a place called Modern Pinball, I think, here in Manhattan. The whole arcade is just wall-to-wall pinball machines.
Oh, nice.
There's
Which
a
is
lot.
great.
There's a lot of places like that. There's Jack Bar in Brooklyn, which is just all pinball machines. They even have that one that's like the baseball one that gives you the baseball cards when you get a home run. It was like the slugger game. They
right,
just have it at
yeah.
the bowling alley, and yeah.
Oh, look.
Nice.
I'm like, look, Willie Randolph from the Mets, 86. What am I going to do with this?
Put it in your bike spokes.
Still smells like gum.
Yeah, that hard gum.
Yes. But yeah, I was thinking about a pinball machine at some point down the line. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I will never get tired of it.
No. And I'll be at your house more often than I am already.
I'll
probably.
have everybody come over and
Nice.
just like it's pinball night, sleepover. We got the inflatable mattresses. We'll watch a movie.
Legos and pinball.
That
at E-Rock's
sounds
house.
awesome.
We'll
I'm
have
down.
bearded guys in long
Sure.
footy PJs with Matt and his bearded group.
There
Just
you go.
lifting things.
Right, just lifting
And
things
just in
to
the
show
corner
their
picking
strength.
things up.
We get it. You're strong. We know.
It's warm out.
And then he's in the back. I don't know how to do anything else. Yeah. So why were we talking about? Now I'm all fascinated about
Yeah,
pinball.
because I
He
went
went
down
to a
to
pinball,
I went to a pinball thing in
museum
Asbury Park.
Asbury Park.
So cool.
On the boardwalk. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
One other thing I want to talk about, Giddles. Welcome to the building, sir.
Yeah, man.
Giddles now works here.
Nice.
Well, not here per se on this floor or
On
for
the
this,
next elevator
for
over.
Sirius XM, But he's in this building. I don't want to give away the floor unless you already did. I didn't hear you say it, but that's fine. But he's here in the building because you're once again working for America's Got Talent.
I am.
Cool.
And the photos you showed me, that place is really, really sad.
Let me put it this way. We have the entire floor like Sirius does, but we only have 20 people. And all the other offices are empty. So you just walk around for like almost a city block of just emptiness. There's just wires cut on the floor
And
where they took all the desks out.
everything's in the middle
empty.
of the floor.
That's bizarre.
There's nothing around the walls where the windows are. So you could do a donut, and if you're a health nut, this is your track.
Oh yeah,
just
we
go
just
up
do
to the
laps.
floor and do laps. Throw your headphones on and you're good, and then go back into the center. Each editing booth looks like a futuristic prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
silver,
a prime waste
stainless
of like
steel,
Manhattan.
You know what it
gray
is?
paint.
No, you know what it is? It's like in the movie The Game with Michael Douglas, when they go back to the place the second time and it's all vacant on the floor and there's just blinking lights and desks torn out. That's where we were.
Nice.
And by the way, everyone, there's a lot of phone calls here. We are going to get to you in just a moment, so please don't go away. I just don't want them to hang up thinking we're just never going to go to the phones. But that's great. AGT, I don't think it started live, right?
No, we start Monday live shows.
All right, because
this is our pre-week.
I never really watched the show, and usually till the very end. But I went to watch it this week because I wanted to see what Brian's been doing. And all they did was feature the Got Talent franchise from around the world for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
Well, it was an off week, because they have to move the production from L.A. to New York to do all the live shows from Radio City. So we have like that extra week off to get everyone out here, make sure that the feeds are working, the satellites are working,
everything's synced up. Yeah,
because there's a lot of pieces to the live TV show puzzle.
Why don't they just run it out of because I know they do the show in New York because of Howard, but why don't they do all the production stuff right here? Why don't they just feed it from the network here in New York? Why do they have to feed it back to L.A.?
Well, I mean, we do feed it from here. Like, when we do the live shows, we feed it from here.
No, but from here to live.
Yeah.
You just said it had to go all the way back to Los Angeles.
No, because the live shows take place in New York. So, like, everything until last week was done in L.A. So they had to move all of those offices here for all the computers and the editing systems so that we can do the show here.
All right, so all the prepackaged stuff that's been running for the last few weeks was all done in Los Angeles.
Yeah. That was done
so all the
beforehand.
live stuff is done in New York.
All the live stuff is done in New York. Yeah.
Now, Howard's not coming back, so I'm assuming they're going to move the show back to Los Angeles.
Probably,
so
yeah.
Are you going to lose this gig? Are you going to go out there with it, or what?
I don't know. We'll see what happens when it's done. I mean, it's a cool gig. I like it. The people are cool. It's nice. It's different. It's nice work on live TV as opposed to reality TV.
Right.
I mean, even though it is the same, and I'm sure people are like, oh, but it is reality TV. It's much different when you work in the world as like
it's a variety show more than it is a dumb
it's,
reality show.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a
There's
game
still
show.
that element that that fire, that bowl could fall on the old lady's head, and Ed Gills has to edit it out, but they save it for the Christmas party.
Well, we were going through it this week, and we were doing like a blooper reel from like stuff where it was like people falling off the stage and like getting hurt, and some guy with a chain.
How can we see that?
It's going to be on air this week, so
Okay.
you will see it on I think Wednesday's show.
Nice.
There's like a whole scene with this guy, and he's got a chainsaw carving an apple in a girl's face.
What I really want to know is how can we see the stuff that you couldn't put into that that was so awesome that like only you guys can laugh about.
Oh, I'll sneak you up there.
Okay. Yay!
Yeah, I still haven't made it up there. I just saw the visuals that you sent me for the place, so I do want to go up there and feel the awkwardness of being up there.
An empty
Yes.
floor.
Yeah, of course.
This is like, you know what it is? Remember that Doctor Who episode where they lost Amy Pond?
Oh,
Because the room split into two dimensions.
Yes.
And she was just trapped in that floor of that building.
of that weird,
Yeah, that's what it looks
That's
like.
kind of what it's like.
All right.
We'll
No, it's
lose
like that-
Giddles. We'll never age, but then we run into Giddles again. He's 96, and he goes, "You live without me."
I think that was the
bigger,
episode where I
whiter
hated
beard.
her.
Oh well. So there was that, and you were mentioned again by your buddy Sherrod Small this week on Opie and Jimmy,
Yeah, because I've been spending all of his money.
and
The Giddles Sherrod Small feud is the highlight of my week. I'm not gonna lie.
for no reason. For
no reason.
But Brian posted a photo on Giddlebase. If you follow on Twitter and Instagram, there he has a photo from I guess what would be your office.
Yeah, it's from my floor.
It's many floors up past where we are, and he said this is an amazing view. And what you're seeing is a portion of Times Square over through the west side to the Hudson River, New Jersey. It's an amazing view.
Sure.
And of course, Sherrod's like, "Well, this motherfucker's got an office."
Yep. So I told him, I said, I'm moving on up. The view is nice from his money, you know, it's on top of that pile of gold.
He loves blaming you for all his financial woes with this company.
As he should.
And then you ran into him after what we called, I guess, drinking show number 2 for the show.
I ran into him in the lobby yesterday.
Yeah, he was quite hammered. Thursday's show, if you didn't listen to Opie and Jimmy, it's up on demand. You should check it out. But that last hour or so was Bert Kreischer, Sherrod Small, just drinking Tito's vodka. And Bert kept calling it tequila, which was fun. So they were drinking that. They were playing guitar. Director Brett Morgan was here. He has that montage of Heck. Right. Documentary out about Kurt Cobain.
Oh, my friend edited that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my friend Joe.
Oh, okay. Well, Brett was here.
Oh, cool.
And they're all just taking shots and having a good time. And then it turned into some weird kind of sing-along thing where Bert's playing guitar and Sherrod's trying to sing and dropping the N-word, like a million times. And... that's fine. He can get away with that. So it was just a great time. And then you ran into Sherrod right after he left here. He's just in the lobby, which, again, the new lobby for this building, I said looks like the processing room in that Albert Brooks movie where you die.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie?
Can't think
This
of
Is
the
Your
name.
Life? No.
That's Life?
No. I know the movie
one
you're
with
talking
Meryl
about.
Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep and Rip Torn is in it.
Yeah. That movie's really good.
That is a really
I haven't
good.
seen it in years and years.
I can't think of what it's called right now.
Google.
Defending Your Life.
There it is.
Yes.
So that's what the lobby looks like. It looks like you got off the tram and you're waiting to decide where your future is, in the afterlife. But Sherrod walks off the elevator and Gittles is coming in to work and he just screams across, "Gittles!" and then runs over, gives him a big hug.
Yeah. I was actually, as we were walking through the spinning doors, and all of a sudden I just hear, "Gittles!" I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I turn around and it was like Sherrod. He just bombards me and gives me a big hug.
Aw, he's a sweetie at heart.
I think he picked my pocket to get his money back.
That is horrible. How dare you say that? Next time he jumps on you, I'm not defending you.
Do
not attack my friend Sherrod, who now has a new show, Race Wars, here.
Right.
Which is happening every Wednesday for the foreseeable future, which is great.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Congrats to them and to him and Kurt Metzger. It's a good show. If you haven't,
Absolutely.
The first 4 that they did is also on demand. You should check that out. It's unique. They have 30, 40 people as a staff. Yeah. They've got green screens, they got cameras, they got all kinds of stuff. It's a really well done show, so check that out.
That's cool.
Moving around the room here, Lisa Correo. How are you?
Hey guys, what's up? I want to be in the beard club, but I don't want to marry a gay guy in the closet.
You don't have to do any of those things.
You should. Here's what you do. You like arts and
girl?
crafts. You cut your hair.
Okay.
And rubber cement, and just glue it on.
I could just tie it
Right.
around.
Ooh,
there you go.
That's actually pretty good.
Does that count?
Thanks.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
have
nice.
to have a beard if you guys are
Look,
just
you can't get
terrible.
into the bearded mafia without the beard.
There's a
You got to tug it. There's a whole system, handshake.
To
there's
braid
a
it.
female
Secret
counterparts,
nod.
the villainettes, and you can actually join them.
Do they grow? Let me guess. You have to grow your armpit hair
No,
out. Is that what
no,
they do?
there's nothing to do with that.
Well,
Just
don't let
Gotta
that
grow
stop you,
some
Lisa.
kind of
If
hair.
you feel that you want to grow out your
I'm
armpits,
going to
you
grow
should do
out
that.
all of my body hair.
just
And then just go
support
like
the
this. This is how you get into the
cause,
room.
that's
You're wearing the shirt and you go, bearded mafia.
Yeah,
And then they let you
boom.
Just
in.
be squeaking around like Cousin Hit.
That's right.
You're
I'm
terrible.
getting you some followers, Matt.
You're very. I don't know if I want your followers after this. Bunch of hateful people.
Check out It's Erik Nagel on
Stealing
on Twitter
money from
there.
St. Jude's,
and
these
then
hateful people.
you can see Matt's outfit and follow.
And it's for charity.
It says
so
here,
follow it.
Matt joined the Bearded Villains hashtag. Follow Geek Stuff OG as he might be losing his mind. So follow the adventures of Matt as he slowly descends into insanity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lisa, how you been?
Good. And on the pinball machine thing, next time you go to Vegas, there's a museum of pinball machines. They have every pinball machine ever, and they don't charge per hour. You just come in with quarters.
That's even better.
You just can play all of them. It's awesome. You can just spend hours and hours there.
That's great.
Yeah. Very fun.
The thing about those old school pinball machines, I was playing the ones from the 50s and 60s. The ball goes so slow.
Yeah.
It's like a really slight angle. I got bored. Half the time I would just walk away from the game. Was this entertaining in the 50s?
Right. It's just like a hunk of wood
Yeah.
and a ball,
With a ball.
basically.
And just go ding.
So yeah, I love pinball too. What I'm trying to say is, can I come over too when you get your pinball machine?
She's inviting herself
Hey,
over,
guys.
Eric.
It's going to be like Dave and Buster's just in Eric's basement.
There you go. Now he has an air hockey table next.
I've been thinking about
Yeah.
it. See? I've been measuring out the garage.
See?
I'm sure
Do
he
it.
has enough stuff he's getting rid of to have a prize booth that we can cash in tickets to get
I'm
an
getting
old
rid of
DVD.
furniture,
Ooh.
my marriage, everything to get in there, just to get an air hockey table, skee ball. cotton candy machine, outdoor movie theater.
I like this.
Don't you just picture him, though, as like a wheeler dealer? Like, we're going to go over there. He's going to have one of those aprons on.
Oh, with the little quarter
change.
clicker? Like, ching, 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 ching.
Yeah.
Look, hold on. You've got the wrong impression of me. I'm not cheap. You're not going to have to pay. The machines will be fixed, so you just hit the button, and now you got 19 free games.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very uncomfortable when someone makes fun of something you're proud of that you're participating
I'm
in.
gonna screw you. I'm going to screw you on parking. But outside of that, you can play all the games you want for free. Come in.
$200 surcharge to park in the park.
Exactly. Well, it's called
$10 per axle.
maintenance fees.
That's right.
I did. What's going on here? Okay. Lewis, if you're listening, could you go out to the lobby there, please? Thank you. Sorry.
You're being banished.
We have a guest coming in a moment. I didn't tell you about the guest, but I want to talk about Lisa's show in a moment, too. But tonight on the show, comedian Allie Breen is going to be here. In fact, Lewis is going to get her right now. She'll be here in a few moments. James Urbaniak will be on the show. If you don't know who he is, he's part of a new show called Difficult People on Hulu with Julie Klausner and Billy Eichner from he's Billy on the Street. If you know those segments on YouTube and whatever. And then Julie is going to be here a little bit later to promote the same show. But James also is on a show called Review on Comedy Central, which if you have not seen that, you are missing out.
I've seen the posters for it where he's just like all blown up and says like 5-star review, like asking out a ninja or something like that.
Review is one of the funniest, dumbest shows that I've ever seen, but it's very smart. It's smartly dumb.
Okay.
Use that for. I want that on a phrase. I know.
Smartly dumb.
Smartly dumb.
All right.
The Erik Nagel show. It's smartly dumb.
Oh, well, fuck that. I was just going to say, Comedy Central used that on the poster for that show, but we're going to take it now. We're smartly dumb. Never mind. Because I would just see the caption, smartly dumb. No, it's a great show. He's sort of a old school kind of...
intelligently ignorant. Just change it up a little bit.
Oxymoron. I guess he's kind of got the old school journalist in him. He does reviews of things, but he decides that he's going to take listener suggestions or viewer suggestions, and no matter what it is, he'll do it for the sake of the review and the experience that he never had, no matter how much it ruins his life. And he goes and does it. He's like, somebody asks, what's it like to go through a divorce? So he goes and divorces his wife. There's the one, season 2 just started. There was one where it said, what is it like to get into a bare knuckle brawl? So he's like, I don't know. He's like, we're going to go find out. So he goes out and he's just walking around the city like this. You know, when they say put up your dukes, that Kings of Dukesbury kind of thing.
The chicken hawk.
So he's
like
walking,
the Notre Dame mascot.
Yeah.
He's walking around going like this to people, but nobody's, fighting him. So he just keeps moving. He tries to attack a guy who stopped. And he thought the guy was going to challenge to a fight. Turns out the guy's blind.
Oh, no.
So then he's like, oh, my God. So then he has to grab him and help him walk across the street. But then he finds a guy who kind of cut in front of him on the line for the ATM. So he's like, oh, right, great, perfect time. And he's talking to the camera and everything. And he goes, walks over with his chest out and he pokes the guy on the shoulder and says, excuse me, sir, you cut me in line. And the guy goes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. And before he even says anything, he swings around and just clocks the guy in the face as he goes into the ATM machine. And then he goes like, oh my God, I did it. Now he's crouching looking at the camera. Something's like about the experience and everything, right? The guy who was knocked out gets up and just shoots him. And then it cuts to him in the
lobby of this building defending his life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. He's in the ambulance taken to the hospital, and then there's more going on. But that's just an example of how great that show is. Review. James plays his producer Grant.
Okay.
But finally, James is also the voice of Dr. Venture.
Of course.
In Venture Brothers. So believe me, we're going to be talking about that.
Nice.
So that's it for the guest stuff here. Oh, the guy hung up. He wanted to know what a Giddles was, and it's just a play on Brian's last name.
Yeah.
It's a name that he's
I've had forever.
Yeah.
What's a Giddles? Hey.
It is what it is.
Hey,
It is.
It's
Mike
me.
in Wyoming. Mike, how are you?
Hey, E-Rock, I just wanted to call and congratulate you on a really, really entertaining show. Dude, I'm not into comic books or anything, but you and your friends that you do a show with, you guys are very entertaining. And I'm pretty proud of you, dude.
Oh, I hope you're listening to the right show, but if you are, thank you. I do appreciate that compliment. It was
Thank you
not
very much.
solicited, but thank you.
Always appreciated.
And I also miss you on ONA, too, just to let you know.
Well, ONA's all done and gone.
You know what
So everybody's pretty much missing from ONA, but if you listen to Opie and Jimmy, I'm still there in some capacity, yes.
but you're doing a good job. So congratulations. Thanks, bud.
All right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
That was
Do we
lovely.
have anything from
That was so
Opie's
nice.
prize closet to send him?
We do. There's a little bit of a problem with the prize closet. We're fixing it, and we should have it back next
Was
week.
there a garage sale that happened and gave away things?
No. In fact, the winners from last week, Ope signed everything, and then they're out in the mail, so you should get them very soon. There was something going on with some of the prizes that we sent out.
Well, people weren't getting them, right?
Right, they weren't getting them. And some people called in, and we addressed it on the air, because why shouldn't we? And thought we got it all settled and sorted out. And then more started coming back. Like, it kept coming back to the office, saying no delivery, no... I'm like... One, maybe two addresses. If they got it wrong, I can understand that they couldn't deliver it. But when you're getting a bunch of the stuff coming back, the mailroom's doing something wrong that they can't ship this outright because not everybody's giving me the wrong address. So I went and contacted those people and got the address again, sent everything out, tried it a different way, and hopefully you're going to get all your stuff there. I do apologize. I don't know why everything came back, but it's all back out there again.
Weird.
And so we'll have the Opie stuff sorted out and get that all there.
We'll get the Beard Mafia on that
Right.
immediately.
Just guys on Harley Davidson showing up at your house with a package. Also, at some point, we still got to figure out, we have a lot of great prize packs from Comic-Con.
Oh my God! Yes.
And this week too, Kevin Smith was in, which I want to talk about a little bit later with Kevin here. Signed some really great stuff. The specialty figure that he put out for Comic-Con.
Right.
We have a couple of those signed.
Nice.
Some Bluntman and Chronic shirts that he signed. We got the book. I got a Tusk little mini poster and everything signed. So all this great Kevin Smith stuff. We got to figure out a way to get rid of that to somebody that will actually appreciate it. And Kevin's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh, awesome.
So that's going to be fun too.
That's nice.
Like I said, all over the place. So much to do. Let's talk to our guest who came in here, Allie Breen.
Yay!
Oh, why wouldn't that be on?
God.
There we go.
Microphones, Eric.
Hi.
Let's try that again. Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Welcome. I understand you moved back to New York.
I moved back to New York. Yeah, I had lived here a long time ago, and then I moved to LA, and I just moved back a little while ago.
Didn't work out, or just decided to?
Well, actually, I got a job in New York, so I ended up coming back for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you're still doing comedy.
I'm still doing comedy, yeah, and then I'm writing while I'm here as well. So it's good. I'm happy to be back. I missed it.
Allie has a mutual friend with me, Brian DeMoy, which Gil
Yeah.
knows. You know.
Brian's been on the show a couple times.
And Brian's out in L.A., making a go at it.
Yep.
And he calls me up and he said, there's a friend of mine, I'd like to see if maybe you'd want to have her on the show. And we're talking a little bit. I said, okay, this is great. Do you have her stuff? Can I see it? Oh, I don't know. Just give her a call. I'm like, she doesn't know who I am, Brian. I can't just cold call comedians and say, do you want to come on the show? And they're like, who the hell are you? But we worked it all out. He sent me her stuff. And I was like, oh, this chick's really funny. We should have her on. And what he didn't explain was, I didn't know you moved back to New York. I thought you were just here doing shows or spots or something. And I was trying to I'm like, is this time sensitive? Can we get her next week? Or is she leaving back to L.A.?
And he just disappeared.
He's like, nothing. I don't know, ask her. I'm like,
like,
what
you're on your own,
dude? But anyway,
Brian's
welcome to
great
the
like
program.
That. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
How do you like moving back to New York here?
It's good. At the moment, it's really good. Winter's going to be brutal, but I'm happy to be here now.
How much time did you do in LA?
I was there for 4 years.
All right, it's not enough to forget how bad the winters are here.
I don't know about that. When the sun's shining on your head in February and you're out at the ocean, it's you can forget pretty quickly.
How many earthquakes have you been through?
I think like 2, but I slept through them. They didn't even affect me, so I had no problem with that.
Going from New York to LA, I think you could sleep through an earthquake.
I sleep through
part of it,
everything. I can do that pretty well.
The only time I guess the closest I was to an earthquake out there was, I think 1995. We were out in Los Angeles with my family stuff. We were taking off. And as we got up into the air, then all of a sudden there was a murmur around that we had an earthquake as we were taking off. But who would know, as you're in a plane barreling down the runway to take off, that the ground is shaking and going crazy?
I'm pretty sure that's the plot to 2012, Eric.
No, there wasn't a big crack in a limo trying to catch up to the plane. And
That's just
all
the
that weird
LaGuardia
stuff.
runway. If you were here, that thing has like potholes in it.
And you know Lisa.
Yeah, we're buds.
Yeah, we're buds.
Yeah, we met out in L.A.
Exactly. I was going to say, I don't even know how long I've known you. I have no gauge of time anymore.
We did Maria Shihada's show
Yes.
together.
That's
I think
right.
that's when we met.
Yeah, and then we've hooked up again since I moved back here briefly.
Yep.
You and your roommate.
Yeah, man.
And I play computer chess with your boyfriend.
Yes. And you have to come on our apartment show, which Erik just did.
Oh,
Yes.
I would love to.
That was an experience.
It looks like an amazing one.
Well, let's give the website so people. Is there an on-demand or an archive thing up there that they can?
Yes. If you go to ourbigapartmentshow.com, then you can log in and watch the past episodes. So you can see Erik on the show.
Is
in
my
the living
episode
room.
up there yet?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you have a fan texting me, Allie.
Oh, I do.
One Club Soda Kenny.
Oh, I love Club Soda Kenny.
Kenny works for us, and of course for Norton and everything.
I've worked with them a ton of times.
And he wrote, "That girl knows me."
It's the nicest text I've ever gotten. The nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
It's better than "Who are you? What do you want?"
Exactly. That girl owes
You've
me
opened
money.
for Norton a couple times, right?
A bunch of times, yeah.
Where? Out in California, or?
No, all over the place. And then I opened for him for his not his last hour special, but the one before that, American Degenerate. Yeah, in
Which
Boston.
is also on Netflix, by the way, front page with his other one.
It's so good.
The contextually
Yeah,
inadequate.
it's great.
Yeah, and I'm from Boston, so I got to open for him in my hometown, which was great for his taping. And yeah, I've done a whole ton, all over the country, not really California, a couple times, I guess out west, like Arizona or something, but
Did you start your comedy in Boston?
no, we started in New York.
All right, it's not a bad place to start.
No, I guess not. It's better
There's
to start
worse
in Boston, I
places.
guess. Yeah.
But Boston was one of those areas that just, almost everybody that came out of Boston became either a household name in comedy or a really big star. So I didn't know if you started there and worked with anybody like that.
No, I know a bunch of the Boston guys, but I know them all from New York. Yeah, I decided way later after I left to start comedy. I wish I started there.
What got you into it? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did somebody say, you're funny, you should give it a shot? And
No, it's so weird. I always liked comedy, but I've seen only a few shows in my life, and they were so good, I could never imagine I could ever do that, And then when I moved to New York, I was looking for a job on Broadway. I was like, oh, maybe I'll bartend at a theater, I can see some shows, and I ended up getting a job at Caroline's. And then I saw, every kind of comedy, including really bad comedy. And I was like, I could probably do that. That looks feasible.
you don't want to do the bad comedy, you want to do the good comedy.
But it shows you can start somewhere, you know what I mean? Otherwise, the first comic I ever saw was Mitch Hedberg. So I was my God, I could never do that, even if I wanted to. So
well, you
then I
could, but that
became
would take a
obsessed.
lot of drugs.
Yeah. And alcohol. And
R.I.P. Mitch. Anyway.
Wow, this is like a down note. Why did you gotta do that?
Where'd you go, Erik?
I know.
Terrible.
Look, I felt really deeply about that gentleman.
Well, that's your own personal thing.
Anyway, so all right, from Boston, you started in New York, and then you went out in L.A. I know two different worlds, but if you're going to do comedy, usually in the United States, those are the two places to be in order to not only hone your craft, but I guess more L.A. to move to the next level for writing, for sitcoms, for movies, for those kind of things like that. When you went out to L.A., is that what you were looking for, or were you looking just to be a stronger comic?
Neither. I went through a breakup and I was just looking to go and surf. That was it. Yeah. I was like, if comedy happens, great. But no, and then it was great. Keith Robinson, who you guys might know, know Keith, right? He was out there working on Wanda's show at the time, and he was a really, really good friend. So we would go to clubs together, and he introduced me to the scene a little bit, and it went pretty well. And then I ended up getting Montreal, and I did some road shows and got some small writing gigs, and then oddly enough, it took me back here. So it was good. It worked out well, but yeah, maybe I'll end up back there. But I'm kind of happy to be here again. It gets you really lazy, I think. I was happy doing 3 spots a week and kind of writing a little bit and surfing all day, and that was fine. So it was a good life. You don't really get ahead that way. So
from what I understand, because it is a big comedy scene, but it's not as easy to get into as I would say New York, because there's not as many places for you to just kind of find somebody, know somebody, and they vouch to have you come in and to do a bunch of spots like you could do here in New York, where you can do, a handful of different clubs within a night just by, hopping on the subway and taking a cab and hitting all these clubs, but boom, 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 boom. But in LA, it's like 35 minutes to this club, then you got to get in the car and drive all the way over to here to do this one if you're lucky enough to get time and not get bumped and what have you. There's bugs in the studio for some reason. I'm swatting them away.
It was a good catch.
Hey, Mr. Miyagi, that one.
I saw that. It was like 2 fingers. It's amazing.
How much more are you doing as being in New York now, or do you find yourself being more active?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, in New York, you get spot times, so you can really run around and do like 4 spots in a night. In LA, their thing, for some reason, is that they really don't give you your spot time. You're just on a show. And they expect you to be there at 8 p.m. and you don't know where you're going in the lineup.
Just hang out the whole night.
The whole night.
Yeah.
And so it wastes any other chance of doing another spot. Except for the Comedy Store has now gotten a lot better about actually scheduling time slots. So, yeah, it's way better to do comedy in New York. But I do think you're right. Like, writing jobs, and if you want to do TV and stuff, it might be a little easier in LA. So...
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you have more opportunity to go around and do stuff here. I think that would kill me that if, like, if I could get into a radio station and they're like, oh, you can, do some help out here and then jump to another station over there and help out over there. Or if you're like, well, sit here for 4 hours and maybe we can get you a promotional gig or maybe you can get on the air at one point would drive me crazy. I think I'd be done. I'm like, I got to find another job.
Right. And also in LA, there's a lot of places where like Dane Cook would come by and just take the rest of the show. He would do 3 hours and your spot was gone. And here that happens a lot less.
And you don't get paid. You don't get paid if they bump you for it, right?
You still do a lot of times, but at the Improv, your spot pay was literally like $11 a spot. It was so pathetic.
That's horrible.
It's so bad.
So the whole point of it, because I remember for a lot of the comics that were that come on, Opie and Anthony and Opie and Jimmy, all talking about how the spot prices used to be so bad, and then they fought, and I think they get maybe $25 a spot or something at certain clubs, what have you, to make it work. Even though that's not good money per se for the night, but it's something. It's more, I guess, the experience of getting up in there and being allowed to perform for different crowds, different times to kind of hone your craft, if you will, get stronger at what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's all about being seen out there. They're like, you'll be seen by someone, and then you'll get a sitcom, so you should just do this for free.
No, it's
so
not
ridiculous.
How that
Does it still work that way? That feels like such like an old antiquated
Sounds like an internship.
Yeah.
they're gonna see you're going places, kid. Get out there. Get your face on the screen.
They really do, and people eat it up. Yeah, you're right. I should do this for free.
Well, I would think after you do it a couple of times for free, you're like, all right, listen, free it's just not cutting it anymore. No. That's what it is. You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and free sounds great.
Do you do the road a lot?
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I think I'm on the road for the next 8 weekends coming up.
Wow, that's good. Who are you opening for?
Steve-O next weekend.
Steve-O?
Steve-O. He does comedy. Oh, sorry, he's the weekend after in Raleigh. Next weekend I'm in Long Island. I don't know who I'm opening for. Then Steve-O.
Governors?
Yeah, they're...
It's a good club.
No, I
know, there's bugs in here.
Why are there so many
in the
bugs in
studio?
here?
I don't know what happened.
So many
Who was in here before us?
It's like setting up obstacles.
Bennington, but I can't
entomologists.
imagine them not have... All right, never mind.
I think it's some raid during the break.
So Steve-O, and who else are you opening for?
Who else is coming up? I'm actually headlining a few.
That's great.
Yeah. At a place called Bonkers, which you might know in Florida. They have a bunch of them,
for
right?
sure.
I'm doing Indianapolis and Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I can't think of who else I have on there.
They have some rooms in Vegas too. That's where I'll do the pinball museum.
They have
during the day.
They have one room. You know the place that has like the broken down roller coaster before you hit Vegas? It's like 40 minutes in front of Vegas. It's called
Come
Prim.
see the broken roller coaster.
It is. It's like
Prim?
sad clown faces and a roller coaster that's like
sounds
defunct.
horrifying.
It's horrifying. It just looks like Rape City. And there's a Bonkers there where I've done shows.
Yeah. Oh, on the other end of the strip.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes. I
At
know
the
What it
very
sounds
sad.
like? It sounds like that the courthouse in Nothing But Trouble.
Yes. Yo, that is a weird movie.
Where the roller coaster throws you into the grinding pit and to the fire.
and
And then
turns into
Digital
hot dogs
Underground
or
shows
whatever.
up and
you ever
plays the
see
Humpty
Digital
Dance.
Underground immediately turn the other way.
And then, like, you think as a comedian, oh, I'm playing Vegas, like, you get all these delusions of grandeur, like, there's gonna be showgirls behind me. And then, like, you do it, and it's just like, the audience they're just all angry people that they didn't even know about the comedy show. They were just losing at the slots, and they're like, hey, do you want to see some free comedy? And then, like, that's
the only thing
audience.
they could afford to do.
Oh, and they're so drunk. They're so drunk.
They got the tickets after sitting through a timeshare presentation.
Exactly.
The saddest thing is I went to one of those timeshare presentations. I was so bored when I was there. And it gets worse. The guy who was leading it was like, I used to be a stand-up comic.
Oh, God.
Like, this is your future.
And on top of that, he had a young comedian special on HBO. I was like, oh, no.
No, that wouldn't have been so bad if the food was good. The food was horrible.
Someone once told him he was going places.
Yes. Who were some of the names that you got to work with? We mentioned Norton earlier, but who else have you opened for?
Norton's
or
one of my favorites. Yeah, I've worked with Norton a lot. Colin Quinn a bunch of times.
Colin's great.
Nice.
He's the best.
Have you
David
seen his
Tell.
New York show, by the way?
No, I'm supposed to go. The run is almost over, but they're bringing
Right.
it back, I guess. So I had just run into him. We did a show at McGuire's together, and he had just come from doing the run in the Hamptons. So I didn't even know it was coming to Broadway. But I'll see it when it comes back for sure. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen the new one. I was hoping to go this week to see it. I don't know if I can, but everybody else around here has gone and seen it. I've seen the first two that he did. What is he called?
Unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional. And then the first one, it's not History of the World.
I don't
That's the
remember
Mel
what it
Brooks
was
thing.
called,
The one about the history of the world
Yeah.
that made it on
Right.
HBO and everything. I saw it at Bleecker Street Theater, and I saw it when it was on Broadway and everything. And each one of Colin's shows is just amazing.
They're so good.
And I heard this one is his best yet.
Yeah. Is this one going to TV too? Does anyone know? Is it
It's
gonna
got
be?
to. If it's
gotta.
not, it has to at some point. Especially if it's coming back. That means they had a lot of faith in it, and the run's doing very well. That they got to tape it at least for HBO or Netflix or something.
Right.
I heard the other one too. They taped Unconstitutional, but never did anything with it. It was
So they
never put
have
out
it.
anywhere. But I heard rumor that, or I'm going to look it up real quick. But I heard that they may actually be putting it out now.
Oh, that would be good. They should just put them all
Nice.
out together.
They
Put out a
should.
nice little set.
Unconstitutional should be on like the History Channel or something. I'm surprised no one like that picked it
Yeah.
up. It would be great.
You know,
for it.
sell it to what was it? Who's the one that did all the textbooks for school? Was it Brand McNally or whoever?
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
And Rand
No,
McNally.
he's the map guy.
I know they did the map guy. Who was it, Lewis?
It would work.
Come on the mic and say it. I can't.
Yeah, don't come on the mic.
Mifflin?
Okay, maybe them too. But whoever puts the textbooks out for and sells them, at an enormous price for school
Isn't it
districts.
McGraw Hill, the building we're in?
Oh, that might be too.
That too. All right, everybody who has anything to do with it, somebody should buy
Had
it.
anything to do with education ever.
Right. Texas Instruments, Bic pens. Somebody buy it and then distribute it to schools. This should be taught in schools. See, this is the history of the world. This is the history of New York as told by Colin Quinn. And it will be there for eons.
All right.
No.
I think you
Yep.
should pitch it. You
I
should become
should.
the pitch man for
And
it.
I'll get nothing out of it. It's a
Wow.
big waste of my time.
You'll be selling timeshares.
But
in
you'll
the
have
near
your
future.
face out there, Eric.
That's right.
No, I won't. It'll be his.
Oh, you're right.
I lose. This was a poorly thought out idea. All right. I'll
You're
have to take
distracted
it
by
back.
the bugs.
Yeah, that too, for some reason. Who else have you worked with?
Dave Foley. Do you guys know him? He's
yeah.
an actor.
Kids
He
in the
does
Hall.
comedy. No
Kids
one
in
really
the Hall,
knows he does
yeah.
stand up. I opened for him a bunch when he just started comedy. Because he was
Most
going
of them
through.
do. Most of them do stand up. Dave's I know. Kevin.
Mick.
No. Why am I forgetting their names?
Kids in the
You're the
Hall?
one that has
Greg-
the computer in front of you.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to lean over
Use
and
the
type on
fancy
it.
looky up device.
I'm gonna look up Kids in the Hall right now.
I don't even know if I know the names of any other members.
Hall cast. There we go. Kevin McDonald, I know, does
Yeah,
some stuff.
sure.
Like he's
Yeah.
not Dave's, I know. Bruce McCulloch.
Bruce McCulloch,
does
yeah.
some stand up as well. But Mark McKinney did Saturday Night Live, did Kids in the Hall. He does more sketch stuff. I don't think he does stand up stuff. But Dave Foley is very good.
He's great. It's funny though. He started stand up just a couple of years ago because he went through like a really bad divorce, so he just needed to make money, which is so
She
crazy
took all
to
his
me.
news radio money.
All of it. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was like he owed $17,000 a month or something.
Oh.
And he was like, dude,
Wow.
I'm not on TV anymore. And they're like, we don't give a shit. And so he just has to pay. So he started comedy as a financial solution, which to me is insane. Isn't that crazy?
That's
like,
why
I
Kids
got-
in the Hall started touring again. They probably. Like,
I'm
wait,
sure.
Yeah.
Every time I see someone go on tour, that's all. I'm like, how did you run out of money?
That's-
What happened?
I think the same thing where there's like some band from like the 80s and they're going on tour. I'm like, they're out of money.
Like even this last Grateful Dead run, I was like, what? How much gambling problems? Like, how do you?
You see those damn colored bears everywhere. Did she get a cut? Something?
Actually, that's like I've never opened for him, but Brad Garrett, who owns a comedy club in
Right.
Vegas, which I have worked his club. But when I moved to LA, he was teaching a sitcom class, so I took a class with Brad Garrett. And once again, I was like, "Where's your money? Like, how is this? But apparently he just loves it because he has like reruns and syndication, so he's doing fine.
He's also selling homemade tamales.
And doing timeshare.
Brad Garrett, I saw. Brad was one of those comics before he was, super famous. Brad Garrett. He was one of those comics I used to see when every comedy club had their own comedy hour on television, like Comic Strip Live, and Caroline's, and VH1 Stand Up Spotlight. And Brad Garrett used to do this bit, and it's the only bit I remember him doing, where he's goofing on the fact that he's this big, tall, lunky dude. Nothing fits him. He has this big, deep voice. But one of his favorite things to do, he said, and this is, again, pre-9/11, that he likes to play spy at the airport. So he would show up with a briefcase handcuffed to his hand, and then between the pillars, he'd tiptoe, like really doing high kick steps as he did there, and he was like hiding under seats and all that. If you can, we don't need to look it up now, but look up online, do Brad Garrett spy at the airport. It's a very funny bit. I think we got to take a break here.
All right.
We'll take. Oh, he is? Doesn't say it. All right. We got a call. Well, we have a bunch, but this one's kind of important.
Yes, I am interested in long distance savings.
Let's say hello to comedian Rich Voss. Rich, how are you?
Hey, Rich.
Rich?
Is he there?
He hung up.
Oh.
Bastard. No payoff.
I would love to talk to Rich.
Good appearance from Rich. That might be him again. Rich, is this you? No, it's not. I'm going to put you on hold. Let them screen them there. All right. If Rich calls back, we'll get to him after the break here. Ali Breen, let's plug your stuff. Ali, it's Breen. I just had it here. What's your Twitter?
Oh, Twitter is Breen Screen.
Breen Screen. There it is.
Okay.
Breen Screen for Ali Breen. Same with Instagram, same title?
No, actually, Instagram, I should have it all.
Oh, you made it complicated.
I did. Instagram's just my name. It's Ali Breen.
Okay.
It's ALLI.
Does somebody have Ali Breen for Twitter?
Someone does have it, and now we're like friends. She never
not me.
She never gave it to me, but she was like, "But we'll be cool."
I keep favoriting myself. I don't get this.
That's so annoying when that looks that way.
Do we need to intervene? Do we need to try to get this name for you?
No, she's like a 19-year-old college girl, so we can leave her alone.
But does she have the name Ali Breen?
She does.
That's her real
legit.
name?
It's her name.
Oh, then you can't fight that.
Exactly.
Matt's Beard Mafia can come over and rough some people up.
They don't break legs. They're not violent people. They're good people.
They use phone books so it doesn't leave bruises.
You're all terrible.
And we're terrible.
I'm not hurting
villains
anybody.
are about to beat up a 19-year-old college girl over a Twitter handle.
Over one Twitter handle.
And we're the bad people?
You are the bad people.
Matt, we need to have an intervention with you a little bit later. Breen Screen on Twitter, Ali Breen on Instagram. You have the Facebook as well.
Yes.
Do you have a podcast too? Because I want to talk to you about that in a little bit. I think I saw that on your Facebook.
No, it's funny though. I have a sketch group with a girl who does a podcast, and we're talking about doing one together. But that's as close as we've come.
Then it was a misleading graphic. I apologize for that.
It must have been. I think I was on someone else's podcast. Exactly.
That might be it then. Let's give out your tour dates again before we hit the break.
I'm at Governor's this weekend. I'll be in Raleigh at Good Nights next weekend, and then I'm at Ventura Harbor Comedy Club the following weekend. And then I think it just goes on and on. Then in Myrtle Beach or whatever, the beginning of September.
Okay.
And, they can look at my website, alibreen.com, for dates.
Lisa, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about your show, the Big Apartment Show. Where are your dates at? Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be at QED in Queens on Sunday. Come out and see that.
Times.
The rest, I don't know. I have to look up I don't have it memorized like you have yours memorized. I'm going to be... I have a bunch of dates at QED. Word Up in Washington Heights. Very exciting, guys.
This is the last we'll see.
I
of you.
know. Just look for the apartment show. That's what I'm plugging away right now.
Okay. We'll do all that. When we come back, we'll continue talking with Ali and Lisa and everybody else here. And then a little later in the program, James Urbaniak.
Nice.
And Julie Klausner will be here. Go to break. Welcome back. It's Erik Nagel. 866-969-1969 is the phone number if you want to be part of the program. Matt O.G., Gittle Bass, Lisa Correo, and comedian Ali Breen is sitting in here with us. We are very excited about that. Hello.
Hello.
Having fun in New York?
A lot of fun.
Good.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you'll have more fun when you're not on this show, because this show's not that much fun. A lot going on. James Urbaniak and Julie Klausner on the program in a little bit, but some other stuff that's been going on, entertainment-wise, news-wise, what have you.
Oh, boy.
And we normally don't ever go this route because there's enough shows that do.
Fair enough.
TV shows, and for the most part, usually it's boring as hell. But this is a little bit different, as last night was the first GOP debates.
Oof.
The Republicans. 10 people all up on a stage looking very awkward with a live audience, and it was only on Fox News, I think.
Well, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Right. Because usually with a debate or any kind of political, something of that political importance in this country, goes until the live feed's done. You don't stop to take commercials, and they did. So you got these 10 guys in front of an auditorium full of people because they had to go to commercial, and they're just looking around like, what are we doing?
They went to commercial break all the time. It was like after every question, like, yeah, we got to take a commercial break, and they just go out there and like tell everyone, stop saying that.
Subway presents the GOP debates.
I like one commercial that they had was for Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Well, who bought that time? Who
their
sold that
demographic.
spot?
Yeah, exactly. Who thought that
I was
right?
live tweeting during the debates and everything, and it's no secret now I'm pro-Trump with all of this. And, the commercials go through life insurance and family stuff and whatever. But yeah, they go to break, and then you hear, Straight Outta Compton, and then the trailer's going on. I'm like, somebody fucked up, because that shouldn't be running it, or they don't realize that that's the wrong spot being played.
Well, the problem is that
That's what got all the attention on social media. All of a sudden, you're seeing Straight Outta Compton and NWA showing up at the top of the trends with the GOP debate, and John Voyage, because Jon Stewart was leaving. There's all this stuff there because everyone's like, I don't think they meant to play that.
Right.
No, there's tons of Republicans in Compton.
Hey, Lewis, can you bring up Straight Outta Compton for us? Let's play that as some background music here while we talk about the debates.
Well, people were saying that like the commercial for Straight Outta Compton was actually longer than all the candidates talked about racial issues on stage. Which
Did they play that little doorbell because they went too long with
dude,
their
that
thought?
doorbell was really annoying. It was like, ding!
I was reading some of the, I was following the feed, and somebody said, is it, stop with the damn doorbell, my dogs are going crazy. But I think I was talking with you at one point. It was just like, it sounds like, when you play the high-low game on Price is Right. It's like, $8.75. Ding! Oh, you got it. Move on to the next one, try to win the car. But that's what every candidate, I guess, went long. If you spoke more than 15 seconds as far as your answer goes, and they hit that thing.
They need to start using the doorbell at the Oscars, I think.
Yeah, they need the doorbell.
Did you notice, anybody here notice how formatted the whole process was as far as who they asked questions to and what questions they asked? Not that they wouldn't be formatted, because there's 10 people there. You got to kind of break it up. You can't just ask one question and go down the row trying to get everyone's answer.
They didn't want anybody to have too much time to speak their crazy.
Right. They started and ended with Trump.
Of course.
Of course.
He got the
most
about
time.
ratings.
The least political guy, maybe next to the neurosurgeon that was in there, was the guy who opened and closed the show.
I felt bad for Ben Carson. They went to him like twice. They're like, we just got to talk to Ben Carson just for like 3 seconds. I was in the hashtag Black Politicians Matter. And, just get to him. It's just like, why did they not let him talk?
And when Ben Carson came out, they played this, and I thought it was really inappropriate.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
This is why the commercial ran. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Trump came out to I want money, lots and lots of money. And then I'm like, all right, he's already lost. This is not good.
He's not hitting his demo at all.
He's a well-educated, respected doctor.
Sure.
I just kept waiting for during the debate for like some other politician to come out with a chair and just hit one of the candidates while Megyn Kelly wasn't looking.
It was getting pretty WWE in there.
Yeah,
it was Chris Christie and
a hamburger.
Was it Scott Walker? So one of them started arguing. No, what
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. Thank
Well,
you.
Chris Christie isn't exactly known for not starting fights.
But he didn't start it. It was Rand Paul who was attacking him on some of this stuff. So there was that little, we'll call that the mid-card fight.
Okay.
That was going on there. And then you had Trump and the Ohio governor going at it a little bit on there. And then Trump and Jeb, which is, you're the main event, right next to each other. That's why you're paying to see this. And then all of a sudden, Jeb kind of did he did a little retraction on some comments made. He's like, I didn't say that. And then Trump's like, that's a classy move. That was a classy gentleman move. I was like, you just diffused the whole fight. Now it's just, all right, now you're watching Trump to see everything going on.
Just waiting for a man hug at that point.
He had great answers. They did a panel after the debates were over on Fox. And they had a room there where people were, when they do, not taste testing, but when they test people, they bring people off the street to
like focus groups.
Thank you, to watch TV and movies and whatever.
Sure.
So they had a little device where they would turn it up and down for positive and negative depending on where they were in the debates. And when he started making the fat pig comment about Rosie O'Donnell, all these Midwestern rubes just said, he's being mean, and then you just see the mean bar going up, and I'm like, no, put the green up. This is awesome. This is what you want to see.
I liked when he said thank you after he made his joke. That was the best.
There was one point too where he's just mugging, and he made his point. Like they said something, and it was a little weird if you see the screen capture. He looks like he's insane, but like it looks like Trump sticks out his bottom teeth like this. And he just goes. Just throws his arms up. It's like, point made. Trump knows what he's talking about. But they said like he was dancing around all the answers. I thought he answered everything pretty good.
They all dance around all the answers. Isn't that the point of a debate?
Yeah.
No matter what side you're on, Republican or Democratic or Bernie Sanders, no matter what side you're on, they all dance around the answers.
And they kept saying, it's like, if he does this, then Hillary Clinton's going to win the election. She's under, FBI investigation right now. They just seized the server in her house for her emails. If they find anything, she's not running for anything.
And Christie has Bridgegate, so.
But that's not sticking to them, though.
I know.
People keep bringing it up, but there's nothing that they can attach.
They weren't in the paper to pin.
They're really not letting this Hillary thing go with Benghazi and all of that.
Not.
So the fact that they just seized her personal email servers, and
Her and Jared from Subway.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, poor Jared.
So if she gets busted for something, it's pretty much wide open for the Republicans. I don't see anybody except
He really
Biden
was just looking at $5
that's
footlongs. That's it. It was just
that's going to stand out for the Democrats to
Bernie
get that.
Sanders.
Oh yeah, he is actually pretty popular.
He's higher than Clinton and every Republican candidate
Which is
in red
weird.
states.
You know what's interesting about that is that they really did make it sound like Clinton was the one to beat. They didn't really bring up Bernie Sanders. So they
No.
validated
because
her
Clinton
as...
was the one to beat in 2008, and we all saw how that went.
Right.
I mean, like,
The thing with Hillary too, that despite her awfulness and what have you, but they just for the last few years, since the last election, pretty much, they were all acting like she earned it. Like she deserves to be the president. Just give it to her. As far as being the candidate, it's Hillary's election to win. It's her. That's at least the impression that the news that was from the news and anytime you'd see some kind of Democratic spokesperson on as a pundit on one of the shows, they were like, well, this is Hillary's time. She's worked long and hard for this. You should just give it to her.
I think that's because there wasn't a ton of opposition, and she's the one that everybody has been talking about.
But they weren't even saying she deserves the nomination.
So
she was saying she deserves the presidency. They were jumping way ahead,
But of course they're going to say that.
like, who's not going to say
Of course
that?
they're going to say that.
Don't you think that it turned me off? But if they said she deserves to be the candidate, I get that because it's in the party. But when you start saying she's been at this for a long time, she's worked hard, and all the shit she had to deal with, Bill, she deserves to be the president.
But for the Hillary supporters, that's exactly what they want to hear,
Right?
And that's who they're appealing to. They're appealing to that
I feel like
market.
that-
You shouldn't
that's why
be appealing to the supporters you already have. You should be appealing to the people you don't have yet.
But I feel like that's why they put like McCain on the ticket in like 2008. They're like, he's just old. Let's just let him like run.
This is his last
He's
chance.
got nothing else going on right now.
It's like the Adam Sandler, he's old. He's this good, but he's
the whole
old.
campaign.
Yeah, I think in politics you just get to that point where people just give you things. They're like, you've been here long enough. Take a shot at it.
You want to be a judge? You can be a judge.
Yeah,
Come on,
sure.
sit on the bench for a while. Oh.
But it was entertaining. I thought Trump did really well. I thought everything did pretty well.
Sure.
It was one
does have-
of the funniest things I've heard.
It was ridiculously funny, but it's interesting because Trump has good points a lot of times, even though he says things in a crazy way. Like he was talking about how when we open the borders, a lot of the crazy people and the criminals come over from Mexico. And everyone's like, that's so racist, that's insane. But like during Carter's administration, when they allowed people to come in from Cuba, they literally emptied out the jails and the insane asylums and they sent everyone over. Like, it was brilliant on Castro's part. So there's a precedent of that happening. So he's not saying something crazy, but the way he says it is insane. When he's like, they're just sending over rapists. They're raping everyone. Like, you can't say it that way.
Hide your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't walk down the street without being raped by a Mexican.
Just crackle him by the border without getting raped. It's not going to happen.
He's a tribble on a tumor. It's just, you have to...
Earlier this week, there was something I read where he was talking about the wall again. And he said, we're going to build this wall, and we're going to keep everybody out. And then somebody asked him, it's like, well, how do you plan to pay for this wall? And he goes, we're not paying for it. They're going to build it. They're going to pay for it. I'm like, holy crap, he's Vince McMahon.
Well, did you catch during the debate when they were talking about the wall, when Donald Trump said to Jeb, like, I need you to build the wall, Jeb? Like, there was like a weird slip in there where he was like talking about building the wall. He's like, where I was like, well, maybe he's just going to throw his support behind Jeb because he just told Jeb that Jeb needs to build the wall. Like, he said it flat out during the debate.
Yeah, he
it was
literally
really weird.
wants him to build
and then
it
they went
brick by
right to
brick.
commercial break. They went right to commercial break. Like, all right, we're going to go to a commercial break now.
But then shortly after, he goes, when they were talking about his campaign financing as far as donations to the people, he goes, I paid for most of the people on this stage. And this guy's like, you didn't pay for me.
Yeah.
He goes, no, but I paid for him, paid for him, paid for him. He's just pointing it out. I'm like, this guy just doesn't give a fuck. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's the closest we're going to get to President Camacho from Idiocracy that we're going to get.
We always had on Opie and Anthony Open Gym.
Yeah.
We always had Donald Trump Jr. come on the show, and he's been nothing but but kind and gracious for coming on and being a cool dude, and you could just hang out and talk to him about anything. But Opie got to talk to him right as his dad was announcing, or had announced, so it was still very new. We'd love to get them back on Opie's show again, just him or Eric Trump to come on and just talk about their dad. Because the thing with Donald is he's running for president. It's hard to get that.
Sure.
But I don't know if that plays into the equal time law. So if we take him, we have to take everybody. You know?
Oh, yeah,
I don't know how that works out, but I really hope he would come back on the show. Don Jr. and Donald Trump would be an amazing interview on this channel. So let's hope for that.
We'll get him.
You think so?
I was confident.
Wow.
Exactly.
He just leaned in with his elbow and had one eye, shut and the other one up really sternly. He's like, we'll get him.
That's the Sherrod money talking. That's
Great.
He's all optimistic from
Sherrod's
editing all
money's
that
gone
footage.
to your head, Gibbons.
That's what happens when you're a baller.
But so the debates were actually fun. As long as he's a part of it, I think I'll continue to watch. Once he's gone, I'm not going to care anymore. Like, nobody cared about the first round of the Republican debates that they did at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, no.
It was on
The
TV.
loser debates.
Nobody watched it. All I knew is it was over because you'd see the news feed on Twitter. The girl won. Whatever her name is.
She was
Carly.
supposedly was great, actually. Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, she won. Or at least there wasn't
the
to win. The
there's no
public
winning,
opinion,
yeah.
Right.
It was the one who came out on top.
Opinion,
We'll say she won. So she came out on top there, but you look at the list of the candidates in there.
It's a who's who of who's who.
But they're legit politicians and governors, and they weren't good enough to be in the main stage.
But again, that's like the sci-fi awards that they give out at the they go to the cut reel that they filmed 3 days earlier.
Awards
no, like
handed out earlier.
The Oscar Tech Awards.
It's Angelina Jolie and a bunch of old white guys in a room. Yeah.
It's like a high school cafeteria.
It's the ones they stream online before the network broadcast takes it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's still early, whether you're voting independently, Democratic or Republican or whatever. There's still time to pick out who you want.
Lots of time.
There's so much time to pick.
But I'm all in on Trump until his run is done. I'm getting a T-shirt or something. I gotta support this guy. I'm never very publicly. I don't really come out as far as politics because that causes problems, and then you get labeled and stuff. But
I'm going to come out for Trump.
I'm coming out for Trump. Look, when he announced, I posted a photo on my Instagram of a tie because I have a bunch of his ties. I go, the man makes a good tie. He's got my support.
It
doesn't take much.
Potato chips and Trump.
But one of his ties, I have one of his ties. It says "Made in Mexico" on the back.
It's made by rapists.
It's made by rapists.
I don't like where this is going. We're not going to trash my man Trump here. But I'm all for that. What else do we have going on here? Let's go back to some more fun stuff.
Sure.
Wait, his thing went away. Somebody said they screwed up the debates. But this one is Marty in Seattle.
Stage.
Marty, what's up?
Hey, I heard you guys mention about the Cuba, the people coming over to Cuba when they released them out of prison.
Right.
And I was at the service at that time. What it was is that the government gathered them up and put them on Air Force bases and military bases in a prison camp atmosphere, and one by one figured out who they were and released the good and jailed the bad one. It's not the same as far as, what's coming across over the border, but it was crazy. I mean, here they were staying in these prison camps, and they were the most filthiest people I've ever met. Is that after they left, they literally had to tear down the barracks in the housing area that they were living in.
That's gross.
Yikes. Jesus.
Well, that's a downer.
Cuba's not really known for their humanitarian efforts.
Oh, but I'm just saying that for the U.S., as far as what we did with them, in comparison to the people sneaking across the border, is completely different. You've got criminals sneaking across, and our government's not really doing a lot about it, other than, as best they can, but it's not like when we...
Yeah, because it's too rampant, and, I can't imagine... the people crossing the border illegally way outnumbers the manpower that the country actually has to patrol all of that, to arrest, to prosecute, to deport, all of those things. So people are getting in, and it's becoming a big problem. I think the law is a little different as far as Cuba went, though. Like, if they caught you in the water, that you had to go back. But if you made it to land, you got, you were allowed into the country.
No, during that administration, they opened the border.
I just wanted you guys to understand is that those Cubans were not let, when they got onto the shore, they weren't let go and I let them disperse to where they were.
I hear what he's saying. They were allowed to come into the U.S., but the government knew that we checked them out, and the government knew that they were criminals and that they were insane, and so we put them away. But we still were responsible. We still allowed Cuba to send us their degenerate, the people, and then the U.S. was responsible for them. So we had to pay to put them in jail.
For all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've had embargo
I see what he's saying.
And if we learned anything from Scarface, they had those camps down there under the highways where they would put those people.
Yeah.
We had to change that and make things right.
Sure.
All right, Marty.
Go, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Marty. I appreciate you calling in here. Bob in Baltimore. Bob, how are you, sir? Bob?
What I was going to say is, I don't know if you remember General Petraeus, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He had some problems with emails, and they ended up ending his career with disgrace.
Right.
And right now, nothing seems to be happening to Hillary Clinton with her problems.
No, I don't think nothing seems to be happening. It's taking a while, but they're not letting this go. Like, this isn't just all of a sudden, hey, we're going to investigate her email account, and then, it goes away over time, and you see an article, oh, she did something wrong, and one of the staffers went to jail or something like that. This has been ongoing for a long time, that constantly, the second something comes up with that story, it makes front page headlines once again. It's not like it just comes and goes. When it shows up, it sits there and it lingers. This is going to be a huge problem for her if they find some weird shit on that server.
Yeah. I hope they follow it out to its natural course, or they find out what actually happened, one way or the other.
All right. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
I'm not going to question Bob. He seems like an all right
Bob
guy.
sounds like he's an all right
Bob
guy.
doesn't seem to be into the guff.
Yeah, Bob just wants the truth.
That's it.
Bob likes
Bob's a good
to
guy.
ride the train to Glibtown. All right, enough with that. Let's talk about some other pressing issues here. Fantastic Four is opening this
Oh,
weekend.
God.
Yes.
We can talk about it if
I
you'd
hope
like.
it's taking a fantastic flop,
It
which
is
you'll
taking a
see
fantastic
on
flop.
probably Sunday or Monday's papers if it does tank.
It's one of the few times.
Are you into comic book stuff or those kind of movies, superhero movies,
I
Allie?
love the movies, but I never grew up with comic books, so I don't know much about the actual background of a lot of the stories.
Well, I think with this one, we don't even have to worry about the source material, although it was bastardized for this movie. But everything that I've read about this movie, it's one of the few times that I can remember, even worse than Pixels. I'm going to say this is worse than Pixels.
You know what? Because Pixels people expected to be bad.
No, and I think certain demographics actually enjoyed Pixels.
Yeah.
It just maybe wasn't for us. This is one of the first times in a long time that everybody I'm reading is shitting on Fantastic Four. I mean, it's at 9%, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes.
Can you see it there?
It got as high as 10%.
Wow.
It was 18 the other day.
Yeah, but that was before it was open, and that was based on the like two screened audiences, and that's not good either. 18%.
No, I thought it was 18
with.
because everyone expected it to be bad, but then when the critics, I thought it would at least get to maybe 50, 53, somewhere in there. It's down to 9.
Yeah, it only brought in $2.7 million, for the Thursday night numbers, which
it opened up at midnight
low
here in the United States.
I mean, Ant-Man, which everybody thought wasn't going to do good,
that made it in 2 hours.
It brought in 6.8 on the Thursday night,
right?
So it almost tripled Ant-Man. They're saying that it's going to make something like 44. It's trending to make like 42 or 44 for opening weekend, which is awful for a movie this scale.
No, and we've talked about this movie for a long time. Matt clued me into the strategy that Disney has involving this property here.
And, looking back on it, it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. We thought it was a big gamble at the time a year ago, but now we see what they're doing. Fantastic Four, for those who don't know, is a Marvel property.
It is.
Now, it's a Marvel property, as far as the movie rights goes, not owned by Disney.
It's owned by Fox.
Disney Marvel owns the characters and all that stuff, but the movie rights and what have you is owned by Fox. Deadpool is Fox, X-Men is Fox,
Correct.
Spider-Man is Sony. The Spider-Man universe,
yes.
sort of, right. So, well, it was.
It was. That was jointly owned.
But just showing you that there are Marvel properties that they do technically own, they just can't, they don't have the rights to make what we want out of it.
For a while, Universal had the Hulk, so.
Right, and I think they settled something on that, so now they can make a Hulk movie again. Anyway, Fantastic Four. So they had 2 movies, and they did horrible with them. The second one had Silver Surfer, which they thought everybody would enjoy it because you're working them in there. There was 3?
No, there's only 2.
The Roger Corman shelved one from 1994 that was so bad the studio paid not to air it.
The Roger Corman one is better than this one, I think.
Yes. The Roger Corman one you have to see if you've never seen it. It's
I
like
don't think I've seen it.
It's a guy in a puppet suit for the thing.
For the
it's
thing.
real
What
awful.
year?
94?
Ooh,
it was
no,
shelved because it was so bad.
Okay. All right, so there's 3 horrible ones. And what this is what they're doing here is just like what Sony did with Spider-Man. They rebooted everything because their contract was about to be up, and they would lose the rights to do anything with this. And when that expires, the rights go back to Marvel, which Disney owns. So then Disney could do stuff, and Fox doesn't want to give that up because they're hoping they can make money. So they greenlit a reboot of the movie franchise, put it out there, and Disney. It's a dick move, but I'll say take the high road because I agree with what Disney did. They said, okay, you can do the movie, but we own the merchandising rights to it. And they purposely tanked any kind of promotion for Fantastic Four.
They canceled the comic temporarily.
Right. There's no toys. There's no fast food children's meal tie-ins, which is death to any kind of superhero movie. That looks horrible. Brian's showing me the Roger Corman one.
Can I see?
I'm gonna have to look for that. Is that on Netflix?
It might be.
No, there's actually it's in the news right now. It's trending because people are like, "Oh, remember how bad this one was too?" Instead, there's a documentary coming out about how bad it was and the making of it.
Wouldn't it be great on Monday? They say how much better that one was than the one that just came out.
Do you remember when they did the Fantastic Four and Arrested Development? That is probably better than this Josh Trank project.
So, anyway, that being said, Disney decided to say from the back end of all of this stuff, we are purposely going to not do anything with this. We're going to cost ourselves a lot of money, millions of dollars that they could have easily made.
I don't know that Disney actually owned up to this. They did all of these things.
This is what.
But I don't think they actually said, this is why we're doing it. I don't think they owned up to it.
Okay, this is our theory then.
I'm just saying it's Disney.
But everything about this theory seems to be 100% correct. So they said we're not going to support it on the back end of this to purposely make the movie tank. And seems to be going that way with the way it's trending. There's no promotion for it anywhere. You see the trailer online. I have not seen anything on TV for it. And no toys, no nothing. No. And if you don't have, in this day and age for your kid, if you don't have a tie-in with McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's, you're kind of fucked.
Sure.
And that's what seems to be happening here.
My theory for a long time now is that they were running out of the rights. They had a movie in development that was not the Fantastic Four. And they knew they had to do something with the property or lose it. And so they skinned the Fantastic Four and placed it on top of another movie. And if you read a lot of these other reviews, they're like...
Is this like Mario 2, where it's really another game, but they just put Mario in
it? Zelda 2 as well, Link to the Past was the same
Ali's
kind of thing.
looking at this, and he's like, what kind of show am I on?
Sorry.
We'll book you on Opie and Jimmy for a better comedy show. I'm sorry about that.
But so all the reviews that I'm reading are like, they spend like 40 minutes looking at computer screens, and like
I believe that.
It's like 50 minutes before they even become the Fantastic Four. They get their powers, and then they immediately jump forward a year in the story, so there's no actual character development, and then like immediately go into the final act, which apparently the CGI is for shit.
Oh,
so
man.
I think it was just like pieced together and stitched together to get something out, to hold on to the rights. Josh Trank tweeted yesterday and then pulled it back, but he said, a year ago I had a fantastic version of this and it would have received great reviews. You probably never see it. That's reality though. So he kind of was like, well, but in all honesty...
So he's admitting it's shit.
He's admitting it's shit, but that's also because he was in the public eye because of all that stuff that came out on him, like trashing those people's houses. And like when he was filming, apparently he was miserable about it. And he was like ruining sets on location spots, and like all these interns were complaining and they got sued. And so I think it's just been a clusterfuck from day one. I smelled this fart a year ago. I knew it was going to stink then. It's just been wafting towards us. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I guess I'm surprised it's doing as bad as it's doing, because I kind of figured it was going to be like some people would really like it, but a lot of people are like, nah, it sucks. Right. No, this is like everybody thinks
I
it
can't
sucks.
wait to see it.
I know. I feel like I'm getting more sold on this the more we talk about it. It's like, this is going to be a train wreck.
Watch it.
Oh, I can't wait to hate
That's
watch
what I
it.
mean. That's the other strategy, is to make it so bad that it becomes a cult classic.
hells
where
yeah.
everyone's like, this is
But here's
insane.
the difference,
terrible.
though.
The Jonah Hex
We've
movie.
talked about movies and things that we know are terrible or have been poorly reviewed, and we always suggest somebody to watch it and check it out for yourself, so that you can join in on the bashing of how horrible it was. This particular situation, I am encouraging everyone not to see this, because here's where my theory, my mentality on this part. Everyone says, well, at least something's being made. If you're a Fantastic Four, there's something there. You can go and support it with all this comic book stuff, right? Not mine.
I know.
I'm just saying. I've seen this. I've seen people saying, at least it's out there. If you're a fan, you're getting something. I'm saying this. Let it tank. Don't go see it. It's horrible. We'll spoil it for you so that you don't see it, because I know a couple of things that I might just spew out in a few minutes here about the movie.
No, please don't, Eric.
Don't go see it, because I want it to bomb. And the reason why I want it to bomb is because once it bombs, and as much as an X-Men fan as I am with their what they've been doing, this new movie I'm not really sure about. This could be a clunker for Apocalypse.
I mean, I think it's still going to be a good movie. I think just the character design is probably off.
If that one does bad, and this is going to do bad, had they not brought Deadpool into the fold, it might have been the leverage Disney needed to take these properties back, or at least work out a deal to get them back and include them in the cinematic universe. Deadpool is the weird thing, because it's going to do well.
Absolutely.
Everything I've seen from it has been amazing, because it's the perfect balance of rated R funny and extreme violence, and
absolutely.
My fingers are really crossed for that they don't fuck this up somehow. It looks amazing, and everybody wanted this movie for so long. Here it comes. I want this movie to tank so that it gives leverage to get Disney to take it back and do it the right way.
Fox might let Fantastic... They're not going to let the X-Men go. As a matter of fact, I think it was a week ago, Bryan Singer was doing an interview, and he kind of hinted at and teased that there was a potential crossover between the Fantastic Four movie and the X-Men universe. And then today, someone from the studio clarified, no, actually, they're parallel universes, and they don't really exist within that. They're like, no, start distancing yourself now.
They combine them just to kill them.
Yeah.
Cut that piece out of the movie. You're not going to fuck up X-Men for us.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to do another time travel movie so they can Brett Ratner it, like they did with X3.
Well, anyway, I want this to tank. I want them to work a deal so that Marvel Disney can take this back, make something good out of it, and everybody be happy again. I'd rather have nothing than have a piece of shit.
Absolutely. I agree.
And then
I can't wait to go see this piece of shit. I'm like really excited.
Yeah, me too.
I've never encouraged this either, but Brian, buy it off the guy on the street who's selling the bootleg DVDs. Don't give the money to this movie.
I want the experience of just seeing everyone else in the theater's reaction.
No, but that's the problem.
Crying.
But the problem is nobody's going to be
each other.
there, because nobody's going to go see it, because we just told them not to go see it.
I guess you're right.
Here, all right, let me ruin something for you,
Please
okay?
don't. La, la, la,
The
la,
origin
la,
part
la,
of the
la,
story.
la.
The origin part of the story apparently is very well done, where you see what happened to them and why they get their power. Once they start to use it, the movie is a complete shithole.
Yeah.
There you go. So 10 minutes of the movie, good. Leave the rest of the movie alone because the rest of it, the story and the effects are poorly handled.
Every shot from the trailer is just them in this, like, facility. Like, just sitting there, like, we'll be like, I got powers, and then the commercial ends, and it's like the Thing punching something.
Right.
Like, it's so stupid.
So do not go see Fantastic Four. Let it flop. Let it go back to Disney Marvel, and have the people who really care about the property take it and do something really special with it.
Hip, hip, huzzah.
And then also I heard that there's going to be an X-Men TV show.
Yeah, they're working on it. They're trying to develop that universe further. They don't have a home for it yet, although Fox obviously is the likely platform.
I think that Fox is developing it. If they're smart, they would put it on Netflix.
They're not going to put it on Netflix. No, because Disney is going to say, keep your shit away from us.
Yeah, maybe.
We've got Daredevil and all this other stuff that's going really well. Keep your dirty stuff to yourself.
How much did the movie cost to make?
Billions.
No, it was
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, it was
Tens of cents.
It was 170 million, maybe.
Holy shit!
I think it
wow.
was. 140, 50 million, something like that.
Is this gonna be like Cutthroat Island, where like that movie that was so bad it put a whole studio out of business?
Yeah, exactly. It makes no money back.
Let's see. According to
Box Office Mojo, do they have that? Do they have?
It's usually on Wikipedia.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Usually Box Office has it up right
I thought
away.
I had read it was like 150. It was 130, 140, but then with marketing, it bumped it up to like 160 or 170.
So if you know you're going to put out a piece of shit, why would you spend that much money on it?
Because they don't want to lose the rights to it.
But can't they just put out a $30 million movie and keep the rights if it's going to be terrible no matter what?
I think at some point in time they had confidence in it.
Oh, gotcha.
And
they're already sowing the hole.
They were sowing the hole.
Okay.
At that point, it's like, well, what are you going to do now? You got to just keep pushing forward. Maybe we'll get lucky. You know,
Yeah.
maybe
in the
we'll
editing room, someone can figure out something to do with this.
Wow, budget is 120 million.
Okay, 120.
And so far, total box office receipts 2.7 million.
But that 120. That 120 budget, I'm pretty sure that doesn't include the marketing.
No, that's just the actual production of itself.
Yeah.
Which marketing fucks a lot of movies, by the way, because when you start seeing posters and everything out there, you're like, oh, this movie's going to be huge. And then when it flops, like, wow, that movie was great. Why did it do so well? Because all the money went into marketing instead of, sometimes not into all the production of the movie, or sometimes it was too much.
Movies, but good movies, it doesn't affect it. I mean,
I don't even remember seeing too much marketing for this, to be honest. I mean, I saw a couple ads on the subway, but that was about it.
For Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
No, because Disney has a hand in that kind of stuff. They don't have a hand in the movie and what have you. But Disney's blocking everything. They're just not doing it.
Even with reviews, they put an embargo on the reviews until it was supposed to be this morning. But a couple of outlets broke the embargo and started publishing them early.
What kind of power do you have? You can put an embargo on reviews of your movie. That's insane.
That's how you could tell a movie's bad, when the reviews have to come out the day the movie comes out. That's the telltale sign that it's a bad movie, because there has been some sort of like gag order on the reviewers not to tell how bad.
Because what they hope for is that they get a huge bump on Thursday night
before anyone reads.
Before anybody reads the reviews, and that salvages the opening weekend. Yeah. So there you go.
Dr. Steve's writing in. Dr. Steve, for those who don't know, is he's a comic book fan, and he's been from the age of when comic books were really.
I talk comics with Dr. Steve quite frequently.
And he wrote in here. He said, Marvel definitely needs to get Fantastic Four. I heard a cool idea that was swimming around as far as the Disney, what they would do with it. He said doing Fantastic Four set in the 60s. It wouldn't be a modern era.
Yeah, it certainly could be done. They've toyed with that idea before with Agent Carter, with some of the stuff that we saw in Ant-Man, some of the stuff we've seen in Iron Man. So they've teased that sort of time frame. Whether or not they'll do it, I don't know that they're actually going to get the rights back, to be honest with you. But
all right.
It's like Mr. Fantastic with sideburns.
This is off the start. What is Ant-Man's power?
He's an ant.
That's it? He turns into an ant?
No.
I don't know anything about that one. People said it was really good.
He turns into an ant and ruins your picnic.
Paul Rudd was fantastic. He could shrink himself, but like ants can carry, what is it?
Yeah,
like 100 times their weight or something.
So that's what becomes.
Yeah, so he has, like, when he's really tiny, he has, like, crazy strength. When he's normal size, he's just like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
But when he's tiny,
just charming when he's full size.
Yeah.
He's full size. He's just that scene in Wet Hot American Summer. He's like trying to pick up the tray and the kid.
That is a great crossover. When they make the variants, like the limited edition ones, if you just had Ant-Man with the trays,
I can't pick it up.
Take a call real quick, then we gotta take a break to talk to James Urbaniak. Snowy in Michigan. We haven't heard from him in a while. Snowy, how are you, sir?
Hey, sir, Iraq gang. How y'all doing, man?
We're doing good, Snowy.
Hey.
I'll tell you what, the biggest thing that's bothered me about these movies is, I mean, they piss on the real origins from the books. I mean, Hader liked the original, like, Fantastic Four movie, but they're true to the origin. You know, they flew in space, got the cosmic rays, and came back, you know, changed and everything else.
But they didn't really get it from the cosmic rays. They got it from this fake negative zone. I'm not going to go into it. But they kind of still shit on the origin, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. They get dicks and piss on the freaking origin. Fuck that. We're going to do it our own way. It's like, oh, Jesus.
That's why I think it wasn't a Fantastic Four movie. It was some other movie they were developing, and they put a skin on it to make it look like the Fantastic Four to maintain the rights. I've been saying that for a while now, and I really think that's what happened.
Even little stuff like the fact, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. I'll probably see it at some point, like it's within $1 or whatever, it's a $2.50 theaters.
Nope, don't even support it there. Don't do a matinee. Let this movie just die.
You know, I suffered through Ghost Rider 2 when I saw that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you lose a bet?
If I can handle that, I probably can handle how bad this one is.
The only cool way to say you saw Ghost Rider 2 was it was 3 a.m, and it was on Netflix, and it just was on the front page, and I gave it a shot.
It was kind of like that, because I used to, a truck driver, I got like stuck in the city for a day or two, and I would see a movie by myself, and it was the only like sci-fi movie out, you know, that was out there in the theater I went to see, and my buddies even tried to warn me off. Like, don't see it, man, it sucks ass, don't see it. I was like, I already bought the ticket, I'm going to check it out, and I was like, you guys are right, it sucked.
All right, Snow, we got to move on, man. Thank you so much for calling.
Thanks, Snowy.
Dr. Steve is on point with you, Matt, and he says, "God damn, I love this show." So that's nice of Dr. Steve.
Thank you,
New
Dr.
episodes
Steve.
Wednesday nights here on the Opie Radio channel, plus on demand. We're going to have to take a break here and get to James Urbaniak, but Rich Voss texted me, and Allie, he wanted to say sorry. His phone got cut off with his reception. He said, "You're doing a good job."
Oh, is that legit or sarcastic? You can never tell with Voss.
Let's just take it as a positive. We don't get that much out of him positive.
He's also a wordsmith.
Tell him thanks, Voss.
So there you go. Let's get your plugs out of the way here before we take a break. Breen Screen
on
Twitter and Allie Breen on Instagram,
yes.
and your comedy dates.
Governor's this weekend and Raleigh Good Nights next weekend.
All right, and
go to my
Lisa?
website for the rest.
Yeah, check out ourbigapartmentshow.com.
There you go.
There it is.
Boom. We're going to take a break. When we come back, James Urbaniak from Review, from Dr. Venture, but more importantly, his brand new show on Hulu called Difficult People. We'll be right back.
Let's do it up. Feed. Now, it's Erik Nagel.
Welcome to the show. Look, I got to say this is a real treat for myself, but hopefully you will enjoy this as well as I welcome to the program. I know I'm going to get your last name wrong, James, but James, is it Urbaniak?
Urbaniak.
Urbaniak.
Close. That's not the worst mispronunciation I've heard in my 51 years.
What was the worst that you heard?
Usually people at airports or coffee shops. Just a bunch of consonants.
Me. Just wave your hand.
Bunch of consonants.
That's my latte. Thank you. You may recognize the voice. He's Dr. Venture from the Venture Brothers, which we'll get into in a little bit. But he's here for a couple of other projects and really funny stuff with Review on Comedy Central, but also Difficult People, which is premiering on Hulu.
That's correct. On August 5th, a show created by Julie Klausner, who's an old friend of mine.
Who we're going to talk to a little bit later in the program.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So let's talk about Difficult People first, since that's why you're here.
Sure.
On Hulu. Explain to us what Difficult People entails.
Difficult People is a show about sort of Julie Klausner and Billy Eichner, who's known
Billy
from
on the Street.
Like Billy on the Street and stuff. They play sort of versions of themselves. They're basically themselves without a TV show. So they're sort of 30-ish people in New York, sort of vaguely in the writing, performing scene in New York, but haven't really succeeded yet. And so they're kind of bitter at everybody else. And you just kind of have to take them everywhere twice, once to apologize.
Wow, Billy plays a bitter character? That's a stretch.
But the stretch is, he's actually not shouty in this one.
He's very low-key bitter.
He's less, well, he's, a lot of the stuff is just Julie and Billy having these back-and-forth conversations, where they just sort of riff on their obsessions And those just come off as like two friends going off on stuff. So he doesn't shout in her presence.
How many episodes are we looking at here?
There's like 8 episodes in the first season.
That's great.
And it's a really funny show. And I play Julie Klausner's boyfriend. I'm essentially her Cheryl David.
Right.
I'm like the a la Curb Your Enthusiasm. I play a guy named Arthur, but he's basically the long-suffering, supportive spouse of the unfiltered crazy person.
So let me guess, you're giving up a lot. You're sacrificing.
Yeah, I'm kind of the guy who says, like, honey, if the guy at the party upsets you, you don't have to talk to him. I'm always trying to kind of tamp her down, keep a lid on it.
Right.
Because she's difficult, as the title tells us. But Julie and I actually go way back. I've known her for like 15 years. And the funny thing is, like, in my TV roles, I often play crazy people,
right,
psychopaths, red herrings, perverts, weirdos, oddballs. And this is really like the first time someone basically just cast me as like the nice boyfriend. So in a way, it's kind of a weird stretch for me.
Maybe everyone felt that you were typecasting yourself.
Well, yeah, I just come off a certain way. But Julie, I think Julie knew it would be funny if I kind of played the normal guy. So I still have my quirks in the show.
So you didn't have to really audition. She wrote it with you in mind?
Yeah, she a couple of years ago, she said to me, hey, I'm developing a show, and there's a part for you. She's like, Amy Poehler's producing it. There's a part for you. I said, okay, I love you. I'll believe it when I
say it.
You have to be skeptical in show business.
Right.
Even when your friends tell you they're writing you into a show. Because that may well happen, but then it won't become a show for reasons.
It seems kind of legit if Amy Poehler's producing it. I mean, she's got a lot of projects in the works right now.
Yeah, and she's doing a lot of stuff now that's sort of, like funny stuff that's sort of created by women. And Julie's one of the funniest people around.
Right.
So it's really exciting to be a part of. And, it's the future, Eric. These streaming services making shows.
Get out. Come on.
You watch it on your computer. It's
I'm
crazy.
Still waiting for HD DVD to take off. It's going to be Blu-ray at some point.
Yeah.
This is great because a show like this, it's really hard to say. Look, I could probably say network wouldn't have picked this up, but it's hard to say who would have picked it up. Maybe basic cable. Like this could have been an FX property.
Yeah.
It could have been even an HBO property. For some of the stuff that they do. But going with the streaming route really kind of loosens the strain on writing and creativity as far as what you put into the show, ad-libbing, things like that. There's less pressure, I'll say.
Yeah, because it's still sort of the thing where there's still a big audience for stuff like this.
Right.
But the setup with all these different streaming services and cable networks who are producing their own stuff, they don't have to obey the old rules when there were only like 3 major networks when I was growing up in the 70s. So, yeah, they can be a little more niche. Although I think the show really has a great crossover appeal.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the network is very, very behind it. They're really promoting it, and they're very excited by it.
Well, the great thing, too, with the streaming services is that they want it when it's done. They're not harping on top of you for this didn't work. Maybe in the next couple episodes, we want you to kind of change the character to this, or maybe add this person in as a special guest, and we'll work them into the cast. They want here's the concept. Give us the finished product.
I felt a lot of freedom. I remember hearing a story about when Friends was first shooting. There was a famous note where some network executive came, and the actors all got the note. They want you to smile more.
Have you seen the show?
Yeah, no one ever showed up telling us to smile more. It just sounded like Chandler by saying that.
That was unintentional. So this is great. It's Difficult People. It's on Hulu. The premiere is August 5th, but, for when we're doing this and everything, for all intents and purposes, August 5th, but then it'll be right there. Is it one episode, per week, or are they unloading it all like a Netflix
No, I
thing?
don't think they're doing the whole, all at one time thing. I think they're doing one, each week, which I like. I do like that traditional thing. It's sort of waiting.
Keeps you in there.
Keeps you in there.
Some people will binge watch a show and then they're done in 13 hours and then they're like, I have nothing left to watch.
Exactly.
For another 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And then they go on the internet
time
and
to
bitch.
think about it.
What's taking you so long? It's like, we just put up 8 episodes.
Exactly.
Give it a little time to breathe. Amy Poehler being behind it is definitely great. Julie, I've been, is it Julie? No, Julie is her character. Oh, Julie is the character, and
well, she does the old sitcom tradition of having the same first name but a different last name.
Yeah,
like Bob Newhart was Bob, whatever he was,
and Lucy,
Mary Tyler Moore was Mary Richards. So Julie Klausner plays Julie Kessler, and Billy Eichner plays Billy Epstein, I think is his fake name. And I have 2 completely different names. I am not James on the show.
Is it because they couldn't think of who you are? Or
I think they just like, well, I like that the leads play. I like that old sitcom tradition where the star plays a character with their first name.
Okay.
I just think that's a nice old tradition.
Well, this is going to be a great show. You got to definitely check this out. The other show I want to talk to you about is Review.
Yes.
On Comedy Central, which is batshit crazy.
It's great.
I'm trying to say, it's a news, like a hard news guy, a critic, if you will.
Yeah, he's like the host of, like, for those who haven't seen it, he's like the host of like a news magazine, but the concept with the show is that he reviews things, but he doesn't review like films or books, he reviews life experiences.
And he's not the guy to be doing this.
No, because Andy Daly is so good at these sort of weirdly confident but idiotic people.
Right.
So he's this kind of all-American looking guy who's very cheerful about doing this, but basically, like, he'll review in the first season he can review something kind of mundane, like someone writes in and says, what's it like to eat 12 servings of pancakes? And then he does that and he gets sick. Then someone else writes in and says, what's it like to get divorced? So then, for the good of the show, the character gets divorced from his actual wife.
Yeah, he's just a guy, because his name is Forrest McNeil on the show.
Yeah.
Which is very straight-laced, very clean-cut, traditional newsman,
exactly.
Perfect haircut, the black glasses, he means business kind of thing. But he's the guy he's the guy in the office that thinks he's up on the latest trends. He's free-willing. He can experience all these things when he's just not the guy to do so. And it makes it really funny. His character is almost like Michael Scott and Alan Partridge together.
Yeah, that's really good. And the show ends up becoming kind of an allegory for a guy's life, because basically, for the good of the show, within the show,
right,
Forrest McNeil makes all these choices, which are usually really bad choices, that then affect him and the people in his lives.
And then he doesn't understand. Like, why is this a problem?
Yeah. And then my character is his producer, whose name is Grant, who's sort of the evil puppet master behind the scenes. In fact, kind of the opposite of... I
got to ask you about Grant. Is Grant annoyed and trying to fuck with him at the same time? Or is he trying to do stuff to get him out of Grant's hair?
I think Grant wants Forrest to... I think Grant is exploiting Forrest, definitely, and wants to put him into these deeply counterintuitive situations. But I think he also finds Forrest a little annoying, because Forrest has kind of a puppy dog quality, too.
Right.
He's a bit like an eager dog. I think Grant is probably more of a cat guy.
the James Bond villain stroking a cat kind of guy.
But I'm actually, it's funny, this just occurred to me now, my character on Review is a guy who tries to get Forrest into trouble, and my character on Difficult People is always trying to get Julie Klausner out of trouble. So
you get to
it's a real stretch for young James Urbaniak this year on television.
And then somewhere in the middle is Dr. Venture.
Oh, yeah, very good. Nice segue.
One other thing with Review, because it's season 2 is coming about on Comedy Central Thursday nights 10 p.m. One of my favorite parts was the sex tape episode where I don't know, was the kid an intern or something? He had the intern compile all this all these famous sex tapes together.
Right.
So he doesn't have to do the research and just give him the rundown, the gist. And they're going through everything from like Last Tango in Paris to Pamela Anderson and Kim Kardashian and all that stuff.
Yeah, because Forrest sort of hasn't really gotten in it. Forrest is kind of a decent guy. He doesn't dwell in the gutter.
Very clean cut.
Very clean cut. But then when he decides this is what someone wants to do, they want him to, what's it like to make a sex tape is the episode. He, in his very gung-ho way, is like, well, I'm going to do that.
I like how he makes a nice, his specialty dish, a nice fancy dinner for his wife, and she's like, what is this? This isn't our anniversary or something. No, it's just something, and, they're kind of corny and very clean-cut American. They're sitting there, and then in the kitchen, he just kind of just brings in, I think we should make a sex tape.
Yes.
And she's horrified.
Yeah, he doesn't quite know how to transition into that. It's so not him.
Yeah.
And then he ends up making a tape with a mannequin. It's kind of a sad image.
Well, it's got to get done. He's got to do it for the piece, Work comes first. What do we expect in season 2?
Well, I can't give any spoilers away, but I will tell you that in the first episode, he's asked what's it like to pick a fight with someone. So we just start off with a bang with a very counterintuitive thing where he just basically picks a fight with a stranger at an ATM. And guess what? It doesn't go well. And that's all I'll tell you.
Just the title alone, it's like, all right, I have to watch. If you're going through the channel guide and you just see, what's it like to pick a fight with sold.
And then near the end of the season, we have a nice sort of showdown where he sort of calls me out. And I won't say anything more about that. But we had a wonderful scene that we shot where we basically have a kind of one-on-one, where he kind of gives Grant a piece of his mind, and then I give a piece of my mind back to him.
Well, you should definitely check that project out as well. Review season 2 on Comedy Central Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Before we get to the meat of all of this, a couple of other projects that you've worked on that I didn't realize. I saw Box Trolls not too long ago, and I didn't realize that you were Sir Broderick in there.
Yeah. I'm he's one of those town elders who kind of control the cheese and stuff.
Right.
That was a really fun gig. That was actually my first time doing a voiceover work on an animated feature. Because, I've done a lot of, TV voiceover work and stuff.
Right.
But that was so much fun. And then I'm a couple other, like guy on the street saying, oh, what's that?
Voices, yeah. You're one of those privileged people that can do voiceover work and video game stuff, which I'll get to in a moment here.
Yeah.
What has your experience been on the whole as far as doing voiceover work? Because I've asked a bunch of different people, and the best one so far has been H. John Benjamin, who told me that he gets up, he doesn't get changed, he wears whatever he was wearing, walks in with like a bag of chips or something, does his lines, puts the chips down, finishes, takes the chips, he's covered in stuff, and then just leaves. And he's like, he doesn't shower, he said it's the best.
Textbook. That's me, except without the chips, because I find that if I eat chips, then it gets in my mouth and it's harder to talk. But if that works for him, his teeth are probably shaped differently.
He's doing pretty well.
He's got a different mouth than mine. I'm not going to judge the man.
When you do Venture Brothers, is it individual, or is it you doing an ensemble kind of thing?
Yes. The Venture Brothers records everybody separately. Actually, the first season, they recorded groups occasionally, but then they stopped that. Other shows do it differently. Like I've done other shows in L.A. I've been on a couple of Adventure Times in the last year and some other shows, and they call everybody in like a on-camera show.
Right.
And you record all together. But Venture Brothers just does it that way. And it's kind of remarkable because, well, it's directed very meticulously by Jackson Public, the guy who created the show.
Right.
And then they just piece the soundtrack together, and we have this chemistry. Though it's funny, like, I moved to L.A. a few years ago, but I was in New York, and Patrick Warburton, who plays Brock, my bodyguard on the show, was in L.A., and so for the first 3 seasons, we were in different cities. We hadn't even been in the same room for, like, the first 3 years of the show, and yet there's so much back and forth and chemistry between us.
Are you like on a kind of like a T1 connection or something, or are you just reading the script and bouncing off the script?
I'm just
and then hoping that that it matches up.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's all about Jackson because he directs it and he really knows what he wants. And part of the reason people love the show is the show has a lot of depth for a cartoon, and like there's a real kind of depth of character. So he knows what, say, Patrick did in the booth, and he knows the quality he wants me to have to match that. But I don't really hear the other takes. But Jackson will kind of read the other parts, and he does a good imitation of everybody on the show.
Between Jackson and Doc Hammer, they do everything. The music, they oversee the layouts.
They do a million voices.
Other
on
than
the show.
drawing or, the computer generation for the animation, they're on every single piece of it.
I know, and that's part of the reason it's so frustrating, because the show takes so long to make.
Well, all right, that's a question I was going to ask you, because
it's like a two-man operation.
And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this about the show. Now, it was on a steady flow of episodes and seasons and what have you. Go back to 2011, they announced that it got signed again for seasons 5 and 6. And then season 5 comes out in 2013, so 2 years later.
Yes.
But season 6 is not until next year.
Yeah. The last I heard, and this could change, was that it would probably be like after the new year. I know they're going to do a big promo at New York Comic Con, because we weren't at San Diego Comic-Con this year.
No, you weren't.
So I know they're doing a big push in the fall, which suggests, and I'm sort of as in the dark as you are, which suggests that they're going to roll it out by the end of, this year. Hopefully. I know it takes a long time. And every year I know Jackson says to me, no, it's going to be a quicker turnaround this time.
And it's actually longer.
It's
it
crazy.
Takes longer.
I mean, it's a quality show. They take the time they need. But other shows are much faster.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, from the fan perspective there.
I get it.
But I'm also realizing that it takes a long time to do all of this stuff.
From my perspective, too, though, I want to see it. The thing is, by the time the show airs, I usually forget what I've recorded, so I'm like a new fan when I watch it. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I didn't remember recording that. Because I recorded the thing 2 fucking years ago.
So then you're watching it and it's all brand new to you.
It's all brand new to me.
It's like, wow, that's really
I never
messed
retain
up.
anything.
Why did I say that?
Exactly.
So Venture Brothers season 6, supposedly 2016, but based on what you said here, going to appear at New York Comic Con. We're going to be there. So I'm sure we'll run into you guys again.
Yeah.
Love to talk to you about that.
I'm planning to be there. Yes.
For those who don't know, if you don't know Venture Brothers, I don't know where you've been. You got to check it out. It's on Adult Swim. The DVDs are out. Some of the episodes are up on AdultSwim.com. You can check them out there and catch up on everything. It's really put in the work, people, because you'll be amazed that no matter how many times you watch an episode, there's always something that you missed. It may be something written on one of the boards in the lab there. It may be a poster hanging in Hank and Dean's room. Maybe somebody said something really muddled while there's a bunch of other conversations going on. You're like, oh my God. I can't believe half the stuff that they really put into this.
Pretty dense universe they have on that show. And my experience, by the way, is like people either haven't heard of that show or they absolutely love it. Like you very rarely find people who are like, oh yeah, I've seen it, it's all right. That's just how it works. People are either really devoted fans or they've never heard of it. It's that kind of a show.
Could you answer a couple questions from people on Twitter?
Absolutely.
All right. This one comes from Will Landers. He's asking that now that JJ, most of the Council of 13, the Sovereign, and the investors are dead, where does the show go, if anywhere?
Well, now this is a difficult thing because this happens at Comic-Con. That's basically a what's happening next season question. And Jackson and Doc are always like, we can't tell you anything. But I just also told you that I can never remember anything.
So they may have told you and you forgot it. I
mean, the only way I can answer is that it is from my very limited perspective, which is that this sort of emotional terrain of like Dr. Venture and the Boys, I think, keeps getting pushed and sort of has gotten pushed season to season. This is not directly answering the question about the Council of 13.
No.
But for me, it's about like the sort of, for me, the thing that changes on the show that's really interesting to me is the way the characters just become more kind of complicated. And like the boys actually get older. Like there's growth on that show.
Well, for those who don't know, the boys are clones.
The boys are clones, but they're also aging.
Yeah.
And so they're discovering...
Which is weird because they usually didn't get enough time to age before they were killed.
That's true.
And had to be regenerated again.
But the clones were destroyed a while back, so this is it.
This is if they're done, they're done.
So I basically can't answer that question is what I'm saying.
There you go. This guy, I can't even read his Twitter handle here. It looks like somebody leaned on a keyboard. But he's saying, why don't they have an episode about fighting and destroying the Illuminati?
Well, that's good. I would... Now, here's the other thing. I'm also very bad at Venture Brothers trivia. Mm-hmm. Doc and I once did a Venture Brothers trivia contest at, like, Dragon Con, and
lost badly.
We totally lost. But we had, like, fans who were backing us up, who helped us. Haven't the Illuminati been referenced on the show? Like,
well,
every sort
I don't
of weird...
think directly. I think they're they're different kinds of guilds and things like that, which the show pointing to the Illuminati without saying that.
Exactly. The show is full of these weird sort of cabals and shadow organizations and stuff.
Ooh, emergency alert. I'm turning that off.
That was actually a no. That was the game show no. I got the question.
Mason Grades 13 is asking, what is Dr. Venture's favorite disgusting drink this next season?
Yes, he made the thing, he had a delightful cocktail that involved Kool-Aid, and alcohol. Wow, I don't think there's a new, catchy drink this season. But yeah, and Red Moco Cooler, I think was the one from a couple seasons back.
Do you think they'll ever make these drinks in real life?
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
Because the merchandising for Venture Brothers is great and extremely limited at the same time.
I think there might be legal issues with actually having Venture Brothers merchandise that contains alcohol. I think that might be a long...
non-alcoholic.
Hard.
True Blood did it. They made that gross drink that everyone thought was blood, bought it. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll fly that one up the flagpole next time I see the boys.
Speaking of Venture Brothers merchandising, you and I are kind of fanboying out on this show, even though you work on the show, because you got a Venture Labs hoodie there.
I'm embarrassed to say this, because I just have so much of this stuff, it's all I wear. But I'm wearing a Venture Brothers hoodie over a Venture Brothers t-shirt.
Now, what's the Greek t-shirt that you have there? I'm trying to see.
Oh, that's the Spanakopita episode.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Based on the ubiquitous New York coffee cup, where we had an episode set in Greece, where there's a fake celebration called Spanakopita that these Greek people did just to kind of please/mislead Dr. Venture.
Right. in typical Venture form, a lot of people died.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the, the
classic skull logo.
The classic skull with Hank and Dean in the nose there,
doing
the high five for the Venture and whatnot. You've been to a lot of Comic-Cons. You didn't go to this year's San Diego Comic-Con. But as far as knowing the merchandise that is out there, what has been some of your favorite stuff that you've seen that wasn't official, like an artist imagination or somebody actually created something?
Well, this is the thing that I know Doc and Jackson have always been very supportive of, like, fan art and stuff. Even people
they used to do the T-shirt club.
They did the T-shirt club, but that was like official merchandise.
Right.
But yeah, there was one lady who used to show up at conventions, and probably still does, and used to make lots of great stuff. She would sort of do labels. So she would, like, get a pack of Kleenex and make, like, a Venture Brothers label on it. Like, she had a whole line of toiletries. That was excellent. Yeah. It was great. Like wipes, hand wipes that she would put a Venture Brothers label on, and boom, you've got Venture Brothers hand wipes.
I thought it was creative, though. No, I'm talking about, like, on the morning show that I work on, Opie and Jimmy, we had Daniel Bryan on not too long ago, and he said at his first book signing for his book that's out, somebody approached him with a Lego rendition of a painting of his wife, who's also a wrestler.
Wow.
And he has it up on his Instagram, and you look at it, and it's amazingly done. Like, the shading and everything, like, if you put it over on the wall, it looks like it could be, a painting. Mm-hmm. And so, there's a lot of creative stuff out there. Have you been approached with anything like that?
Well, I've seen a lot of fan art, yeah. I've seen sculptures of the characters. In fact, someone made a sculpture that I have at home. Sitting on the piano, like a bust of Dr. Venture's head. So yeah, and there've been really beautiful sort of fan pieces. Someone once actually gave me a Dr. Venture speed suit that they made. Yeah, that's probably the most impressive one. That was like the same color, and I think I have it like in a box, like in my storage space.
Did you ever try it on?
I did try it on.
Did it fit?
It fit, but I really
that's
felt
the amazing part. Not just the speed suit that they made, that it was the right size.
it was very, very touching, but I also felt like, I don't know where I can wear this. I can't show up in a Dr. Venture speed suit, even though I'm wearing 2 Venture Brothers garments right now. That just seems too much.
You could be, if you do that at New York Comic-Con, you can be the next big celebrity in costume on the floor that nobody knew.
See, I would need to fully commit, like I'd have to shave my head.
No, you could get a mask made.
Oh, a Dr. Venture mask.
Get a mask, wear the speed suit, and everyone would be like, oh, that's an awesome costume. Can we take your photo?
There's a lot of other guys who cosplay really well who look more like Dr. Venture than I do. I mean, I'm skinny and I have
But you're
glasses.
the Dr. Venture. Like, a couple years ago, Matt Smith, who was Doctor Who at the time, went out on the floor wearing a Simpsons mask.
Yes.
And he walked the whole floor. Nobody knew. And then at the end, he takes it off and tweets out that,
didn't Bryan Cranston walk
Bryan
around
Cranston
dressed as Heisenberg?
He
and
did.
People just thought he was some guy.
Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe was out there.
That's pretty good.
I forgot what he was wearing.
Yeah.
Maybe Green Lantern or Green Arrow, something like that.
Right.
But this becomes a thing every year. Which celebrity was on the floor that you didn't know?
So
if you're wearing own costume, your own character costume, and nobody would think that it would be you, and then later you tweet it out on the Venture Brothers site or Adult Swim or something like that people go nuts for it.
I'll take that under advisement, Eric.
Which means no. For Venture Brothers, I'm a big fan, so we got to wait to see what the announcement is at New York Comic Con, and then hopefully it's back before 2016. But right now it's saying 2016 on this. Another weird thing that they did, but it was great. Every year they were putting out a Christmas song.
That's right.
And how come you weren't part of that?
Well, I think what happened was the Christmas song is done at the last minute, usually like the week before they release it, like right before Christmas. And I moved to L.A. a few years ago. So when I was in New York, they would call me up and say, hey, can you come over to the Astor Base, their little production office? And I would just take the subway and pop over there and record the thing. But it was a very informal operation. It was like just recorded on like Doc's computer. Like in there on GarageBand, like in their office. It wasn't done in the actual recording studio.
That's the way it should be done.
Yeah, so it was just done kind of in a charmingly slapdash fashion, but they weren't going to spend the money to like have me record from LA and make a whole thing. So that's why.
Okay. There's the answer I was looking for.
I actually have an answer to that one.
Lagging Balls on Twitter.
At Lagging Balls.
He was the one that was asking about the costumes and stuff.
Yes.
Just wanted to point that out. This guy, John James, John James Fun on Twitter, wants to say, take the time to say thank you for having a beautifully written podcast. He's a really big fan of that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I have this podcast called Getting On with James Urbaniak, which is just a little thing. It's like a monthly thing, and they're just like basically like little radio plays, like short radio plays. They started out more like monologues, and then they sort of expanded into things with different characters. But yeah, it's a thing I started like about 1.5 years ago, and then I kind of fell out of it for a while. I just got busy with other things, and I've actually just started it up again. So I'm actually working on a new episode. One was just posted last month. And
because the one before that, I think, had something to do with Halloween.
Yeah, there's a great writer and performer named Joseph Scrimshaw, who's a good friend of mine in L.A., and he's written a couple episodes and also performed in one of them. And he wrote a great episode where I was a werewolf / motivational speaker. It's basically like, what if Tony Robbins was a werewolf?
Right.
So yeah, I've got like different writer friends who write them, and then I've co-written some of them with a friend of mine named Breen Williams, who's like my writing partner. And yeah, it's just kind of a thing. You know, when you're an actor, you have a lot of downtime. You're waiting for roles. And so a couple of years ago, I thought, I should be more productive with my downtime. Let me just make something simple. What's the simplest thing I can make? It'd be like, well, that would just be me talking into a microphone.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I'll just do these little one-man plays. And I just enjoyed it, and people seem to respond to them. So yeah, it's a little extra sort of hobby of mine, making these little plays once a month.
Which is great, too, because the podcast format fits for a lot of these different styles that just don't get played on the radio. Or
and then there's a little resurgence actually of like radio
performance art,
drama.
yeah.
Like Night Vale is really popular, and they're doing that too. Those are basically short plays, and those guys are good friends of mine. I've been a guest on that show. But thank you. Person whose name I forget who mentioned that. I appreciate
John
that.
James.
Yeah.
If you want to subscribe to the podcast, or at least check it out, feralaudio.com, and it's also up on iTunes, right?
Yeah. Feral Audio is a great sort of podcast collective created by this guy named Dustin Marshall out in L.A., and a bunch of great podcasts are on there.
Before we wrap up everything here, a couple other projects I just want to acknowledge. You are the creepy foot fetish shoe salesman in Sex and the City.
That is true. One episode. That was the second season. It was a long time ago. That was like 99 or something. And I still get recognized from that. I played a foot fetishist shoe salesman with Miss Kristen Davis as the lady.
Well, that's the one you want. Yeah.
She had nice feet. We'll just say that objectively. But, now and then people, often ladies, it's a big female audience for that show.
Right.
Ladies will recognize me. Once I was at an office, I had an appointment, and I said to the woman at the front desk, James Urbaniak, and she looked at me and she was like, wait a minute, where do I know you from? And I do this thing where I profile people. Like if it's a kind of geeky dude, I'm like, he probably knows me from the Venture Brothers. Someone else, it might be some independent film. And I thought, lady, about 37 years old, probably the Sex and the City episode. So I said, well, I was on Sex and the City once. I was like the foot fetishist shoe salesman. And the woman went, oh, yes, you were.
Did they ever ask you, could you do something with their feet?
It's never actually gone that far, surprisingly.
Well, that's good, because you don't want that to be your, where everyone else is getting girls to, they want you to sign their boobs, and they're like, could you touch my feet?
But that's a very beloved show. That episode was voted one of the funniest episodes by TV Guide in their retrospective.
You were also on Agent Carter, a show that I really enjoyed.
I was on I was on like the first 2 episodes of Agent Carter. That was a really fun
You were
gig.
Miles, yeah.
Being a peripheral character in like a Marvel property is a cool thing.
Because you never know. Not everyone's always dead or gone from
Well,
those
here's
shows.
the thing. Like, there's an explosion, but she actually like trips me, and so you'd never actually see me killed. So who knows? Though I think that was probably the end for that little character. But that was a cool thing to be a part of. Yeah. I was also, one of my first gigs in L.A. was I was on a couple episodes of the Terminator series. Remember that show?
Sarah Chronicles, yeah.
And that actually was like, I was a bad guy on that. But then, that was when they had the writer's strike in L.A., and that show kind of was a casualty of that. It sort of got its momentum going, and then had to stop production. And then when it came back, it sort of
lost its luster.
And
then became bad movies past that. But do you get, you mentioned the Office, do you get recognized for your role as Rolf in The Office?
Oh, I do.
Did you get cast because you look like Rainn Wilson?
Well, it's funny. I knew Rainn Wilson in New York. Like, I lived in New York for years, and before Rainn got that show, he was a theater guy in New York, and I used to see him around. So he actually recommended me for that part, like to their casting director. And another funny thing is when that show first started, they auditioned in New York and L.A., and I was in New York at the time, and I auditioned and was called back for the role of Dwight.
Wow.
Now, at the time, I was obsessed with the Ricky Gervais version. And so I was so excited that I went in and I basically got a haircut so I could look like Mackenzie Crook on that show with that weird pointy haircut he had.
Right.
And that was not the smartest thing to do. I kind of went in and dressed up to look like the Mackenzie Crook on the British version of Garth. And then they liked me, and then I got a note from my agent saying, they liked you, they want to see you again, you don't have to look like the guy from the British show. And I was like, oh yeah, that's probably a good idea.
You should then keep coming back as different characters that you're not auditioning for, but from the original British show.
Exactly. Well, but I didn't get it, and then I was like, oh, shucks. And then I found out Rainn got it, and was like, oh, well, yeah, good for him. He's good. He's good. Yeah, that'll be good.
But when they brought you on and you're sitting when he walks over to shake your hand and stuff, and you're sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, it's Rain.
Yeah, well, that was funny. Rolf was like Dwight's id. He would the point of Rolf was to make us feel sympathy for Dwight. Because Rolf just said things that were so horrible. He was kind of just there to make you feel.
Who's worse than Dwight?
Yeah, who's worse than Dwight?
Well, Rolf.
But yeah, that was really fun. I actually did 4 episodes. I was cut from one because they shoot a lot on that show, but I ended up being on it 3 times. And, it's exciting to be in part of a sort of historic, beloved show like that. Just a little bit.
You've been part of a lot of things. A lot of things.
I'm like one of those kind of working actors who just bops around for a long time, and now and then, cool stuff happens.
One of the funnier things that I've seen you in was on Funny or Die.
Oh,
was the Human Centipede Anonymous.
Oh, that was great. That was written and that was created by John Daly. He's a great comic actor out in L.A. And that was good. For those who don't know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. For those who don't know, you were, I guess, the therapist or a moderator or something like that for people. I was part of a group. Yeah, I was the therapist for group therapy, and the group was all guys who had been in a human centipede. And basically, the joke is that the guy who was the head they hate because he didn't actually have to eat any shit.
Yeah.
Basically. And so it's all about me going, hey guys, we got to be understanding here to this. It was pretty funny.
It's a great concept, though. It's like, of course, that movie was so ridiculous and horrific at the same time. And then you go, this opens it up for parody, but you never thought of the support group till that showed up.
Yeah, the support group of the guys who were in it. That was a good sketch. And actually, they had excellent makeup. The makeup woman did really convincing scars on the guys where they were supposed to have their, mouths sewn up to each other's.
You've also, you've done, with the voice work for animation and television and, like we said, Box Trolls for your first feature film, you've done a lot of voice work for video games.
Yeah.
And some big titles, too.
Yeah.
Manhunt.
I did. That was one of the first ones. I've done a couple Manhunts.
You did Fallout New Vegas, the Old World Blues. You did Star Wars, the Old Republic.
Yeah.
You have a game that just came out not too long ago. I think it's for the Nintendo 3DS. Or the handheld. Yeah, Nintendo 3DS, the handheld game Steam. Codename Steam.
Oh, now I don't know. I'm remembering that one. Is that on my credits?
That's what I saw, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. It's probably wrong then.
Well, it might be. They might have been called something. Yeah, that's funny. The reason I'm saying did I do that is because this is classic Urbaniak. It's not necessarily generational, but I just never really played video games. I just didn't really play. I mean, I have friends my age who played them as long as they've existed. But so the funny thing is, I've never played any of these games that I'm on. So yeah. So
you go do the work, and then you're like, oh my God, that game took off. I didn't even realize I did a piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of them, and I know that they're out there, but I don't. Now and then they'll send me one, and I'm like, I don't play. I don't even know how to begin.
This guy's writing me on Twitter here, Mike Marino. Hope it's Marino. Sorry, Mike Mariano. Sorry. This guy on Twitter, Mike Mariano, wrote me, ask him about his new game that he's in, The Magic Circle.
Oh, well, The Magic Circle, yes, that's a new one that seems really cool. That was actually the first one where I did mocap. I've motion capture stuff where I had to wear one of those little black outfits and they put the little
dots all over you, yeah.
And that was really cool. Yeah, that was created by these guys in L.A., and it's a kind of meta game where I play the creator of a video game. And it's sort of all about the sort of dynamic between the fans and the game's creator. And the writing for that one was really witty and really interesting. And I know that's just being sort of released now. So yes, that one I know about.
All right, well, Codename Steam, hopefully he's in it.
Yeah.
But it says it here, too, in the Japanese subtitle is Lincoln vs. Aliens.
That's the Steam one?
That's the codename Steam. It says in Japan with the subtitle Lincoln vs. Aliens.
If we had more time, I would check my Gmail archives and see when I did that.
Somebody may owe you a check and you're not realizing it.
This is good. I'm glad I did this interview.
We got to get you out of here. You've been very generous with your time. Let's run down everything. Venture Brothers is going to be at New York Comic Con this year for 2015. Hopefully, it'll be back on the air for season 6 before the year's end. If not, it's slated for 2016.
Yes.
Review season 2 on Comedy Central, Thursdays 10 p.m. You definitely want to check that out because it's bizarre and very funny. And the brand new project, Difficult People. He plays Arthur. He plays Arthur on Hulu. The premieres August 5th. Billy Eichner's in it, and is it Klausner? Is
yes,
that how they say? Julie Klausner is the lead on all of this, produced by Amy Poehler. You want to check that out. Also, his Twitter, James. It is your name. Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
James
that you got.
Urbaniak.
You don't have a. You don't really have a common last name that somebody may have had that. You know, like if you're Kevin Smith. You know, he had to become that Kevin Smith because there's a legitimate Kevin Smith that has...
Even Andy Daly is TV's Andy Daly.
Right. Well, that's just a brag.
There are, the best known James Urbaniak after me is an orthopedic surgeon in North Carolina. I know this from Googling. And my goal is to one day play him in a movie. He's a fairly prominent orthopedic surgeon.
That's a great concept.
James Urbaniak and the James Urbaniak story.
That have your name and portray them in a project for no reason other than have your name.
There's also a dentist in Colorado with my name. It's very big with medical professionals for some reason.
This might be your next podcast.
Interviewing other James Urbaniak.
There you go.
Yeah, I know.
And imagining what their, you know their profession, but imagining what their personality is like, and you play both parts.
Yeah, pretty good idea, actually.
There you go. Something to go for there. James, thank you so much for everything and for your time. This has been a great pleasure of mine, and I would love to talk to you when New York Comic Con comes around.
Most definitely. All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, man.
Oh, hello. This is Dr. Venture from Adult Swim's The Venture Brothers. You're listening to that slightly annoying young man, Erik Nagel. Put that down. Have a scientastic day.
Anybody, welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. Anyone see or hear, per se, Dr. Dre's new album, Compton?
I have not, no.
I've been seeing the ads for it. How is it?
It's shit.
Oh, no.
It really pissed me off. Pissed me off.
Should we have forgot about Dre? Is that what you're saying?
We should have, because he was supposed to release an album called Detox, like back in the day.
Right.
It's got some old Eminem on it, like he was going to kill it. It's been talked about for about 12 years now.
Keep the bed up while you're doing this. Let me hear you flow.
Let me get black. I mean, it's been talked about for like 12 years now, so we tired of waiting for that, you know what I mean? And that was big. That shit pops off, I'm about to go get it.
And this has been another edition of Biggie Johnson Getting Black. So it's not that good? Because I saw the ad come up on my phone a few times. I was like, I might download it this weekend to check it out. I still might do it. But
just because?
Yeah, because it's Dre.
Yeah,
you're better off picking and choosing, though, E-Rock.
Really?
Like, preview them first. You know, woof.
All right, that might save me $9. I'll do that then. I'll just listen to the previews.
Do you have a music subscription service like Google Music or Amazon Prime?
No, I'm an Apple user, and like the rest of the world, we use iTunes.
Right. That's fine.
I can't get into your world. I just don't understand where you people are coming from.
Android and Amazon. Yeah, because nobody uses Android or Amazon.
I'm using an Android that I plugged into the USB charger.
For shame. Well, clearly it's a villain's thing.
Yes. Thank you to James Urbaniak that we just spoke to here. Little bit of a scoop there. Venture Brothers is coming to New York Comic Con. They're going to do a thing there, promotion, and maybe there's an announcement. Who knows what's going on there?
That's quick, New York Comic Con.
It's quick. We're already starting to try to make preparations.
Nice.
Are you on the floor this year?
I am on the floor this year.
You don't know where you're at yet?
I don't have a booth number yet. No.
All right, but once we get that information, we'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll have to stop down there and see you and Big Kev.
Of course.
And Ken, if he's going to be a part of it. I don't know.
I don't know if Ken's going to be there or not yet.
He'll be performing magic, but not representing you.
But not representing me yet.
Yeah, we're trying to get the interviews and everything ready. I want to go now, but we'll make arrangements. I'll call Doc Hammer and see if we can make that happen.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
Speak to the Venture Brother guys. Awesomeness.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like Matt could do some really good Mr. Monarch cosplay here with that beard and the head.
Actually, I'm putting together my Ming the Merciless.
Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Please be Ming the Merciless.
I'm going to do Ming the Merciless,
I think. Really good.
Yeah.
Also, we're trying to work on Firefly is going to be there.
Yes.
And if I can get that This is going to be an interview that I'm just getting Matt in the door, and I'm not saying a word. This is going to be an entirely Matt interview.
And I've never met
an entire Matt interview.
Gina Torres. I've met Nathan Fillion. I've met Jewel Stape, but I've never
stop
met
name
Gina
dropping
Torres,
and bragging.
so.
I'm just trying to get you in there.
Look, I'm excited.
You're going to wear your hat.
Firefly is my jam.
You're going to wear your hat, and you're going to have a good time.
I will have a good time, indeed, a Rooney.
So as we get closer to that, of course, information about Big Kev's Geek Stuff and It's Erik Nagel will be there at New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
come see us and do all that fun stuff. Giddles is going to come again this year.
Woo-hoo. It was fun.
Real quick, Lisa, I went and did Lisa's show, ourbigapartmentshow.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And during the downtime, she was telling me about Rick and Morty.
Yes.
And she said, I just started watching Rick and Morty. I was like, what did you think? She's like, oh my God, I love it. She goes, the first episode, about 10 minutes, she goes, this is a little weird. I'll just see where this goes. And by the end of the first episode, like everybody, you're hooked on it.
Yep.
So I was telling her about season 2 had just started. I even tried to reach out to Justin Roiland, and he might be on the show soon. I don't know yet. It just didn't work out this week. I told her the story about last year at New York Comic Con. We were supposed to do an interview with Dan Harmon and Justin, but something got screwed up with timing, I guess, as far as Adult Swim's scheduling and what have you. And we didn't get a chance to talk to them, at least one-on-one, because we were guaranteed a one-on-one, not the roundtable discussion. But they said, if you want to hang out, and I knew it was important to Giddles, like, we'll hang out, we'll talk to them as soon as they're done, get a photo and everything. So as we're going there, we get up the escalator to that second tier where you go to the press, right?
Yeah.
And Giddles runs away from me like if a child saw Mickey Mouse for the first time at Disney World, right? He runs off, he goes, holy shit, and runs off, and then he's like, do you have your camera? Do you have your camera? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Mr. Meeseeks from Rick and Morty is there.
In a giant Meeseeks costume.
Right.
It was the greatest thing ever.
And Giddles is jumping up and down like, you know, when Homer's at an ice cream truck, like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, and there's all these little kids. Giddles is just pushing kids aside. It's like, Mr. Meeseeks, Mr. Meeseeks.
Mr. Meeseeks, look at me.
Look at me. And so we got the photo, and I took a photo too. I'm not going to, not throw myself under the bus.
It's the Meeseeks.
But
it's so awesome.
I was
I'm
just
gonna upload
amazed.
that picture to Twitter.
Yes, please put that on there. Send it to me as well so we can put it up on It's Erik Nagel on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter and E-Rock Radio for Instagram, sorry. So I was telling Lisa this story, and she goes, that's adorable.
I was so happy. It's a Meeseeks. It was a giant Meeseek in a costume. Or I think it was a costume.
Do you hope it was a costume?
Yeah, I hope it was.
That was just some guy off the street. He just wants to touch kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a little creepy.
Hey,
It's
whatever.
not.
Hey, I'm touching kids. Look at me. Mr. Meeseeks.
Yeah.
Horrible. But anyway, so yeah, Rick and Morty season 2.
Yep.
Third episode is this Sunday. If you're not watching this show, you definitely should. Oh my God, I'm dying.
You're sounding like Rick. Watch the show.
Just watch it. You don't know what you're talking about, Morty. Watch the show. It's on Adult Swim. Set your DVR in case you forget. It's 11:30, I think.
I think it's 11.
11. East
That's
and
what TV
Pacific.
guides are for.
Yeah.
No one has that. Use your DVR guide or the app on your phone. So definitely watch that. Most of the episodes, not all of them from season 1, are up on AdultSwim.com, so you should watch them there.
Okay.
Most of them are up there. A few aren't, but that also encourages you to go out and support this show by buying the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go out and buy that
Or
thing.
I think
It's so
iTunes,
good.
you can download the episodes as well.
And it comes with a little like comic book in it. It's really good.
I
And,
need to buy
the
it.
Rick and Morty comic books are great too.
You know what? I'll lend you mine so you can watch it and,
Okay.
and catch up.
Yeah.
Believe me, you're going to want to make the time to sit there and watch
I
it
know
after
I
the
will.
first
I know
episode.
I
You're
will.
like, I need to watch all of this. Where was I going?
I have no idea.
No, because I want to finish about Lisa. I'll finish with Lisa's show, and then we'll talk about the Rick and Morty giveaway, and then we got to take a break again. We're gonna have to go late here. I apologize. We have Julie Klausner coming up in a little bit here. Excuse me. Ourbigapartmentshow.com. I went and taped the episode this week with you.
You were a fantastic guest.
And your co-host Wendy.
Yes, Wendy Starling.
And what's her Twitter and all that stuff?
It's I don't know.
All right, look up Wendy Starling. She's also
it's
another
Wendy
female
with
comedian.
an I.
And
then, yeah.
It's an interesting show. It's very very low budget, but
it is not very low budget. It is the lowest budget show that exists, and that's
they're
part
proud
of the
of it.
charm.
But it was a lot of fun. I was there, and who were the two comedians that were there with me?
Maria Shihata. who's also a friend of Allie's,
and is doing a documentary right now about funny female comedians around the world.
Oh, nice.
She's going to all these different countries and finding some of the funniest comics in all these countries and putting it all together. So when that's all done, I talked to her. We're going to have her on the show to talk about that.
That's cool.
And Maria did stand up in our bathtub.
Right. They have a comedy club in their bathroom. They pull back the curtain.
The chuckle tub. We pulled open the curtain.
Pull back the curtain.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Mike Racine was in the kitchen,
right.
Cooking scrambled eggs. We were going to have Giddles.
I was supposed to be there, but they changed my work schedule.
So Giddles is going to come on a future episode.
Yes, I definitely will. Be whipping up some food.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll look forward for that, but it's ourbigapartmentshow.com. Thank you and Wendy for having me on. I do appreciate that.
Thank you. Everyone liked the episode.
We're going to have to end. You know what? We'll end here and then go into the Julie interview because otherwise,
I know
Matt's pressed for time and Giddles has got to get back to work. So we're going to end it here and then go into the Julie interview, and then that'll officially end the program here.
Well, that's nice.
Next week on the show.
Yes.
As I'm still sorting this out, Rooster McConaughey.
Okay.
If you don't know that name, Matthew McConaughey's brother, multi-millionaire dude from West Texas, has a brand new show on CNBC called West Texas Investors Club. It's like Shark Tank, but they're not dicks about it.
All right.
You know, they actually are trying to help people. They're not trying to buy into the company and make something feasible. They want somebody to, achieve their dream or their goal with their business or idea. So we're going to talk to him and his partner, Butch Gillian. Mm-hmm. We'll talk to them next week. Candace Cameron Bure, hockey player name. She married a very famous hockey player. She'll be on the program talking about her new book, about her life with Dancing with the Stars and Fuller House.
Sure.
And a couple other things there. And, we'll see what else next week brings. But for right now, we know those two will definitely be on the program. Matt, anything?
Just Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, bkgeekstuff.com every Thursday for new episodes of Geek Stuff Podcast.
All right. Giddles?
I don't really got anything to plug right now other than, my Twitter and Instagram. It's Giddlebase on Twitter and Instagram. And then, sometime in September, I don't have a date yet, but I'm doing a lobster takedown.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrestle a lobster.
All right.
I need to go to that.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? Lisa has a hot dog costume. She could jump in.
Now we're talking.
Yes.
Hey, this just got sexy.
All right.
That's right.
Handicap match. Hot dog and lobster versus Giddles. And Lisa?
So Twitter, Lisa Correo, Corrao, and ourbigapartmentshow.com. You can check out the episode that Erik was a guest on, and also our next live shows Wednesday from 9 to 10. Our guest is Kevin Avery, the Emmy-nominated writer for John Oliver.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
Very nice.
Cool.
Didn't he do something else too?
He's a stand-up comic.
No, I thought there was one other project I knew him from.
W. Kamau Bell's
that
show
might be it.
He was a writer on as well. And
that might be because Norton did his show a couple of times, so I think that's maybe where I know the guy from. Okay.
Very funny comic.
So that's it. Follow the show. It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The interviews and Comic-Con shows and all that fun stuff are all up there, and it's constantly being updated with cool new stuff. We said next week. I think that's about it. When we come back, we're going to talk to Julie Klausner. She's the star of the new sitcom Difficult People on Hulu. It's going to be great, and we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. I'm going to make sure I get this right. Julie Klausner. Klausner.
Yeah.
Okay. German, right?
Sure.
Somewhere in there?
Somewhere
Eastern
in there.
Bloc?
Eastern European Jew, so who knows what that could mean. A lot of, what do they call it in sports? Trading.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the miscellaneous helps because I was going to say if it was a German name, where did the red hair come from? But since
Eastern
there's pieces,
Eastern European Jews with dark eyes and red hair are definitely a big thing. It's a gene.
They're the hot thing now.
We are everywhere.
You have a brand new program on Hulu called Difficult People.
Yes.
With people that you've worked with before, with Billy.
Billy Eichner.
Sorry, I was trying not to cough.
That's okay.
Billy Eichner, who you know from Billy on the Street.
Yes.
But you worked on his program for a little bit.
I was head writer for Billy on the Street for the last 4 seasons.
And you worked on that Halloween special that they did. Billy and Rachel.
Yes, I was in that too. Uh-huh.
And so it seems only natural that, you've had this kind of partnership and friendship that when your new project came about here, it's like, You're coming in with me.
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted to write a show that was sort of Curb Your Enthusiasm, starring like a girl, and I asked him if he wanted to play my best friend, and he said yes, and so that was sort of the origin story, and I just wrote a script, not even thinking about whether or not we were going to sell it, and sent it to Amy Poehler, and she liked it, and then we took it around, and next thing we knew, four short years later,
right.
Here we are.
And this worked out great, especially with Billy being on Parks and Recreation,
yes.
Which had
well, that
just
came
ended.
later.
Right.
Yeah.
So you taped this thing 4 years ago, or
no,
did you just
I wrote
tape this
it
recently?
4 years ago.
Oh, so it was written 4 years ago.
By the time it went to production, it had been through. We had a script, and then we shot a pilot, and then we took the show to Hulu, and then Hulu greenlit the series. But stuff takes a while to get,
right.
where it needs to be.
You do comedy, you do writing, you do podcasts. We're going to get into all of that. Where did you grow up?
In Scarsdale.
Okay.
Scarsdale, New York.
So you know the area very well.
I'm local, yes, thank you.
And portraying somebody from New York City, you've been living in the city for how long?
About 20 years, maybe. Yeah.
The second you got old enough to get out of Scarsdale.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
I'm going right into Manhattan.
Exactly.
How did your stand-up influence writing for this kind of show?
Well, I have spent a lot of time struggling to find my place in the comedy world, and so has Billy. I mean, we definitely connected about sort of feeling like outsiders in different cliques. We kind of didn't feel like we fit in the improv world and the stand-up world and the sketch world. And so by the time we found each other, it was really almost romantic because we were able to connect about that. And then we also learned that we spoke the same language. We had the same references. We thought the same things were funny.
Right. Well, that's interesting perspective on it, because Billy had been doing a lot of things for a while, but it really wasn't until his Billy on the Street stuff started to become viral,
yes,
where everyone started to paying attention to him. It's like, oh, I've seen him in other things and all these other little projects, and has been moving up, and you as well now.
Well, I've been writing for him this whole time, but this is sort of my first my first journey as far as like being in front of the camera.
Well, I saw you in Mulaney.
I wrote for Mulaney. And I played an off-screen voice. So you may have seen the speakerphone that my voice was coming out of, but I was not actually on the show.
I swear to God, because you played Donna on the show.
Donna was Martin Short's assistant.
Right. I swear at one point I thought, because I know you were a very bit character, but I swear, all right. So you kind of had like the Vera Marist thing going, like with
yes,
Cheers.
I was never seen, and then the show was canceled, so I was never able to be seen.
How disappointing is that? Especially with John too. I mean, we know John,
I love John.
Great guy.
Oh my God, I love John Mulaney. He is the best.
Do you think it was getting too many unfair comparisons to Seinfeld?
I'm sure it didn't help that the guy from Fox said that this is the new Seinfeld.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a lot of pressure
to live up to.
and a mantle that's really high to reach.
Yeah, and John is John. Like he's his own guy. It was definitely one of the many things that he will do, and I'm looking forward to his next move. And he's doing more stand up, which is great because he's the best stand up. So.
Julie has a new project here, Difficult People, on Hulu. Let's talk about the show for a little bit here.
Sure.
One, bravo, and I don't know why more people who write shows and cast shows don't do this, but I've always had a thing for when you cast yourself, not necessarily as yourself, but you're using your first name to make it easy.
Yes.
Because you and Billy have your same first names, different last names.
Yes, we're playing versions of ourselves.
Right.
That are essentially autobiographical, but because we have different last names, it brings it into the fictional dimension that we're able to play with a little bit more.
How much easier does it make acting?
To be honest with you, I was reluctant to do it at first, and then Amy Poehler really convinced me that it would be a nice way to differentiate myself on camera and off, and she was completely right. It gave me a lot of liberties to act crazier or to write things for myself on camera that I would never do in my real life. And it also helps differentiate, where we are in our careers on the show versus in real life. Billy is well known and has his own TV show. And so that was something that Billy Eichner complaining about may not make sense, but Billy Epstein, who's a struggling waiter trying to get any sort of standing in the comedy world is still looking for.
You're almost going the Lucille Ball route.
Why? Because I have red hair?
Well, one, the red hair, but two, having a hand in the show, not just being an actor in it, but writing, all that stuff.
I don't know that she wrote.
She had producer credits.
Well,
because Desi was running everything through there. Desi Lu Production was the one producing their company, so she had a hand in the creation of the show, the development of the show, all of that stuff. But being able to, and also she used her real name to make it easier for herself. In the show there, but going through that route, you're now doing sort of the same thing.
It's there. Maybe I prefer the comparison to like Amy Schumer or Lena Dunham or Mindy Kaling, because they write for themselves and they sort of play on camera versions of themselves, and there's a lot more authenticity there than there was back in the day when, Lucille Ball was really an actress who learned to do comedy because that was what she was cast in. But I'm definitely a comedian's comedian, as it were.
Well, with those people in mind, as you're saying, there is sort of more of your what you feel closer to in a comparison, or maybe even an influence. I've seen a few of the guest stars that are showing up in this season, but are there some surprises, or did you ask any of them to maybe be a part of it?
Yes, but they're very busy. But maybe next season we have some amazing guest stars. Some of them play themselves, some of them play characters. Martin Short,
I saw a lot of
Seth Meyers,
there,
Fred Armisen. Yeah, we've got and then some great actors from the theater world that we were able to use. And Andrea Martin plays my mom. She's a comedy legend and she's amazing.
With all the Saturday Night Live people in there, you have these connections. Did you ever try to write for the show?
I submitted a packet once a few years ago, and I didn't get an interview, but I think I was okay with it because I had submitted sort of late in my career. If I had gotten my stuff together in my early 20s, it maybe would have been a different story, but I've always kind of marched to my own beat, and by the time I did get around to submitting, I don't really know if I completely wanted to be there.
You think an age plays a factor in that? Because, you could submit now and maybe get a position.
I think it was more about where I was in my career, and I think I probably didn't want to stay up all night and be beholden to somebody else's way of doing things. And I'm a little, as my character is difficult, I like to have my own schedule and my own way of doing things. And I have written for other people and written on other shows, but having my own thing is just the best ever.
I gotta say, it is pretty good when you can do this, but you don't want to be subject to somebody else's time clock and their schedule, and you're sitting around waiting for them to finish it. Just, what, I'm going to do something and make it for myself.
Yeah, if you have the chance to, then there's nothing better.
Well, season 1 is already, it's already done. It's for Hulu. Any signs of, or talks about maybe a second season?
There are talks, but nothing is official. And I really, really, really hope we get to make more because I had the most fun making this show than I ever had in my life.
How are they releasing it on Hulu? Is it a week by week basis or are they doing it all at once?
They are releasing 2 episodes on Wednesday. And then after that, they're going to do 1 a week.
Okay. So the, what is it? Is it an 8, 10, 12?
8 episodes.
8 episode run?
Yeah.
Okay. So when, the first 2 episodes are Wednesday, so that would probably give them a good basis to say, this thing's a hit. We should
we like it or we
season
don't.
2.
Yeah, hopefully.
Have you, was Hulu the first people that you pitched this to?
We pitched it all over, and actually USA was the network that greenlit the pilot, and then we were able to make a pilot. And once we made the pilot, USA had dissolved its scripted comedy department, so there was no home for it there. But the good news is we had a pilot that was finished, so we were able to take it around, and Hulu saw the pilot, got a very good sense of what the show was based on what we had shot, and said, we want to move forward on this. This would be a great fit for us.
Have you, you were going the TV route as you should because it's more people and, usually more money. Not that the streaming services are bad at all, but they're still, up and coming and getting up to where the broadcast networks are. But, besides from USA, were you thinking a specific network or streaming service while writing this? Like this would be more of like a Netflix kind of a show,
honestly,
or FX? Or?
I have done that in the past when I've written scripts, but I tend to, with this project, it was different because I really just wrote the show I wanted to write, no matter where it lived. And I think that really helped me keep it true to the voice of what it had to be. And I let other people worry about where it was going to land. And that really helped me make the show I wanted to make, honestly.
I'm loving the cast for the show. Earlier we spoke with James Urbaniak, who plays Arthur on the show.
Yes.
I'm a fan of his from other projects like Venture Brothers and a review that he does on Comedy Central.
So funny on Review.
The finale last year where he got punched in the face at the bar.
Amazing.
It was hysterical.
I love that show.
He had nothing but great things to say about you.
I can't understand that. I can't understand why. I was very cruel to him. I really made sure he knew his place.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, you've done Hal Hartley movies. So what? You go over there, you learn your lines, you don't talk to me. You don't look at me, you don't talk to me.
I would do the same to Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, especially, or Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right.
Yeah, make him sit in a box. Can't even get a nice chair.
Where did the idea for Arthur come around?
I really like the idea of playing a female comedic lead that was always up to something crazy and awful and had no self-awareness, and had a male partner that was like, sweetheart, that's crazy. Because often you see the reverse in sitcoms. You see
it's very 1960s woman role.
Yeah, I mean, even today, like, I think most of the time the guy gets to be the funny one and he gets to be,
I was just saying as far as
badly.
his subservientness,
Or honestly though, but like I think that the contemporary version of that is a woman being the voice of reason, and that's sort of supposed to make us feel better about being on the show. Well, you get to tell him that he's crazy. Yeah, but he gets to act crazy and that's really fun and he gets all the jokes. Yeah, but you get to, I've seen a little bit too much of that, and this was my version of kind of turning that on its head.
Was watching the pretty much what they would allow me to see so far. They didn't give me everything. But going through a lot of it, like I said, all the guest stars in there, a lot of Saturday Night Live people. Blondie.
Yeah.
Was in there.
Debbie Harry.
And, then I looked on your Instagram and there was a few photos that you have there. Big Debbie Harry
Huge
fan?
Debbie Harry fan. She's like a goddess. She's like a walking statue from like the Renaissance period. I mean, I've never been in the presence of anyone so beautiful, like startlingly beautiful.
They just played the Garden not too long ago
with Morrissey,
right? And then at one point for Tide Is High, she had this huge. It was almost like a big ska band that came out with her, and tubas and trumpets.
Yeah,
and
she's
everything.
awesome. She is so cool, and she's really funny on the show. She doesn't play herself; she plays character, and she was really, really good.
How hard was it getting her to do this?
She's a friend of a friend of mine and a friend of one of the writers. She's very creative and active, and she's around in the New York theater and cabaret community, and she does stuff. She's around. She's not like she doesn't live in some sort of ivory palace. She's still creative, and she still likes to do stuff with creative people. But because this guy David Ilku was friends with her, I sent her an email and she said sure, which was completely surreal and insane.
Well, that's awesome.
I know, it was so cool.
Are there any other surprises or guest stars wise that you can even mention?
Kathy Lee Gifford is on the show in a very funny role, I think. Very surprising and interesting role.
Non-wine drinking Today Show role?
No, she's not drinking any wine. Oh gosh, Amy Sedaris and Paul Danilo. We did a little Strangers with Candy reunion. Anna Gasteyer, Rachel Dratch.
You got everybody here. Everybody that's in New York.
It's a good.
I'll come. Call me. I'll come.
Yeah,
and do it.
and that's what's so great also about having a New York show is it feels that way as well.
The trailer, if you haven't seen it, it's up online. You can definitely see it on Hulu.com there before the episodes come out. It's quintessential New York, where you two are walking down the street and they do the split screen, and you're having the same reactions to every single person that crosses your path. just like every New Yorker.
Yeah,
and you
everyone-
can't, if you're not from New York, there's no way you understand that. But everyone from here knows that's just a typical day.
You just have to get out of my way. There's so many more tourists than there ever have been, or it seems that way at least.
The best
and they
line
walk
is when that lady
so
asks you
slowly.
about taking her photo. Nobody wants to do that for
No,
anybody. And
no.
what's even worse is usually they have their selfie sticks now that you're kind of pushing out of the way. Like the guys who used to have the big golf umbrellas.
Yeah.
And when it's raining, you're pushing them out of the way. Now it's all these idiots with the selfie
They
sticks.
walk side by side and very slowly. They take up the entire sidewalk.
Your disgust for just it's a nice older Midwestern lady,
Yeah,
let's say.
yeah.
It's like, she just goes, redhead or redheaded lady,
Yeah.
could you take our photo? And you're like, ew, like
Yeah,
that
I
was
don't
the
want
most
swine
disgusting
flu.
thing. Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
touch that. How dare you?
Oh, you've captured it brilliantly.
Thank you. I hope that people can see a little bit of themselves in our characters' crankiness, or at least feel some catharsis that somebody else is acting the way they wish they could.
Do you already have season 2 like in mind, or some of it written? Or
I do have some ideas, yeah.
nothing on paper yet? Or?
I keep a little like in my notes app on my phone. I have a couple of little like.
That's very comic of you. Yeah.
I know. Because you're gonna forget it, and you
Well,
don't
it
think you
replaces
will,
the
but then
days
you
of
do.
when you're sitting around, you grabbing a napkin and a pen to write it down, and then you got a stack in your bag.
Because you're always gonna have your phone. I mean, we're all glued to our phones.
Do you still look back at some of these notes and then go, I don't even know what that means.
Yes.
Why didn't I elaborate at the
Yes,
time?
very much so. Very much so. But more so as I get older. At the time, I was just like, oh yeah, no, I know what that is. Now I need to like maybe put a sentence instead of 2 words.
Mark Maron did an episode, or I think in his first season or something, where he was going through stuff and he had cards and napkins, and he's like, I don't even know what this thought was. And he's like, was I drunk at this time?
Yeah,
this was yesterday. How do I not remember this?
I know, it's like eating on Ambien or something.
You still doing your podcast?
I am, but I'm doing it less frequently, and I'm also sort of figuring out how to do it in a way that makes sense with my schedule and what I'm doing right now, because the podcast was so helpful in shaping the stories on the show. I have a monologue where I talk about what happened to me during the week, and so many of the stories were either self-deprecating about me acting like an idiot or looking like an idiot, or other people being idiots.
Right.
So those turned out to be very fertile for the show, and hopefully as I continue to accumulate those experiences, there'll be more material. But I love talking into a microphone. It's kind of the best, isn't it?
You should check out her podcast, the one we're
Thank
talking about.
you.
It's How Was Your Week with Julie why am I getting this wrong?
That's okay.
Klausner.
Yes, you got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Klausner.
that's it.
How's Your Week with Julie Klausner? I went through a couple episodes because I was looking back at the catalog there, and I saw it was very almost once a month and
once a week.
Yeah, and then
For
but I'm
4
saying
years.
since 2014.
Oh, since then, yeah.
Right, that
yeah.
it was once a month, and I just looked at the timeline. I go, okay, I get it. Must be either when she was shooting or writing or busy, and that's what takes the time away from doing a regular podcast.
Yeah, and then also the stuff that you want to talk about is not really like interesting to people. It's like, oh well, today I wrote on my TV show, or today we shot a bunch of scenes. It was really fun. Bye.
Right.
I don't know. It was the show to me excels when it really is more slice of life and more universal and just tiny little things that you get annoyed about at the coffee shop or things that you overhear people say.
Well, in your last episode, I was laughing that you were getting so mad at yourself because you were watching the Netflix Grace and Frankie, and you were like, this sucks. But then you get mad at yourself because you ate a box of Skinny Cow.
I know, and it's like, why didn't I just eat like a scoop of Haagen-Dazs and watch something that was actually good, like watch The Wire.
You
and
kept
eat
plowing
Haagen-Dazs.
through this awful show.
I know, it's embarrassing. You're just like, God, I wish, because when it's crappy, you just do more, and that doesn't work out in the end.
And then I don't know if you were a little envious about when you were discussing Billy Joel.
Well, why was I envious of Billy Joel?
Getting married.
I'm not envious. I assure you, I am not envious of Mr. Billy Joel. I wouldn't mind having a fraction of his money, but that's the only thing I'm...
You're not sad he's off the market.
I am not disappointed. In no way did I hope to have a chance with that gargoyle. He's so ugly. He is so uniquely ugly. I don't think there's anyone else who looks like him,
He's
honestly.
a millionaire, and he's very talented.
Sure, I agree with both of those things, but I don't like his music and I don't like looking at him.
Would you have him on a show if he turned out to be a fan?
Absolutely. In a heartbeat.
He wants to redo the closing theme for your show.
That I don't know about. His rate is probably more than we can afford, but as an actor, yes. Even if he wanted to play like a waiter, I'd be thrilled Billy Joel is invited to be on Difficult People.
Cut. Get him out of here. Check out her podcast. How was your week? It's on iTunes and it's on.
If you go to howwasyourweek.com, you can find it.
There you go. Because you have that, but you also have your Tumblr account.
Yeah,
which is pretty much your website right now.
It's just like a blog. It's where I throw
all
up
the updates
some
and everything
stuff here and there, but I'm not very consistent about it either.
You can find all.
Twitter is the best thing. I'm very obsessed. I tweet a lot, and I really like tweeting.
It's a way to vent. Way to get stuff out of there, and it's stuff that you're like, this is not good enough to use in the show, but it'll be good on social media.
Or it's a sketchbook so that maybe you can take this and make something out of it later.
And it's good, too, that you got your full name for both your Twitter and your Instagram before all of this blows up and becomes super huge and famous.
Well,
because then you got to deal with cyber squatters and paying like 20 to 30 grand to get your names back.
I'll have to take your word for it that that's a problem. That's something I haven't even thought about.
Well, here's something else that you should monitor the range of your fame. When I knew that I was going to interview you, so I go to Google and you type in your name, and then you pause, and then you see what pops up next.
For women, it's
right?
always age, boyfriend, weight.
Another thing too is feet. For some reason,
every female I know.
I don't get it, but.
The world is a terrible place.
I wrote down a list of what popped up for you for the first time that I Googled you.
Let's
okay.
Go.
And it's pretty good until we get to the end.
Oh, no.
Okay. So I put in your name and it says podcast, Twitter, Instagram, comedy, IMDb,
great,
difficult people,
wonderful.
Your book, I Don't Care About Your Band.
Yes.
Which I want to ask you about that in a second. Right after that was Naked.
Oh boy. You're not going to find that
up.
on Google, fellas. Not on Google. You have to
are looking.
Sext me directly, pal.
Somebody sees she's a gorgeous redhead. They put naked. I'm sure right after that is feet.
Question mark? Naked feet. Yeah. Who doesn't love a pair of naked feet? I call them bare feet, but they're sexier when they're called naked feet.
But that's a good sign. That means,
Hey, look, there's way more disgusting things.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, once you really hit big, there'll be all kinds of Photoshops.
I can't wait.
I was never with Tom Cruise in that manner.
I hope they choose someone thin.
No, they just place your head on everything.
I hope it's at least a flattering body.
Your book, I Don't Care About Your Band.
Yes.
Was optioned for HBO.
Yeah, but they never went
what happened with that?
It was the wrong time, place. That stuff is tough, but I am completely happy that it didn't go forward because I didn't write the script. So I was happier to have that happen and move on, and now I get to have my own show.
So they optioned the book, had someone else write the script, and you didn't have any input for it.
I had some input. They kept me around, and I was a consultant, and Lizzie Kaplan was going to play
Well, that's how I remembered it, because I'm a big Lizzie Kaplan fan.
She's fabulous.
And I knew she was signed for that.
And smart. Yeah, but it never got to, they never got to production. So there was just a script and they decided not to go forward with it.
Well, I was going to ask you how frustrating and disappointing is that for them to option your work and not do anything with it. But since you didn't get a chance to write the script and somebody else did, you seem pretty content that.
Look, I got the best of both worlds, you know.
Paid
I got
and they didn't
attention
do it.
so.
How's the book
onward
doing?
and upward? It's fine. I mean, it did modestly. It has a nice cult audience. Hopefully, if Difficult People does better, people will check it out.
Well, go to Amazon.com or wherever, whoever still
pressure.
sells books physically in a store, but go to Amazon or something like that. Get the book.
Thank you.
I Don't Care About Your Band. Leave a nice review. Get it up, get it up there, or buy. Is there an ebook or?
There is an ebook and an audiobook and all that jazz.
Who did the voice?
Me. I did.
That's great.
I did it in a funny accent. I'm just kidding.
It'd be great if you just did it in a totally foreign language and don't put it on there.
Yeah, or like Richard Nixon.
Or like the Minions. They just blend four languages together and.
Is that what the Minions do?
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 different
languages.
It's gibberish with 4 or 5 different languages mixed together.
Who knew the Minions were so multi-layered?
They're all over the place. They just can't complete a thought.
Too many Minions.
Sorry, so not Minions, but she voiced it. You definitely check that out. The podcast you can definitely go and subscribe to. And Difficult People is on Hulu.
Yes.
Which is, you have no excuse because
it's free.
It's not like you didn't set the DVR for it.
Yep.
It's there. It's on every mobile device that can stream.
Agree.
You can always get it.
It's free.
What's next for you?
I think I'm going to have lunch, maybe a turkey sandwich.
career-wise?
Hopefully I'll get to do more difficult people. That would be amazing. I would love to keep doing it.
You still focusing on your stand-up too?
I don't really do stand-up. I do my podcast, and I have like a solo show that I put up every once in a while.
Well, your shows then, yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm just dying to get back to work. It's the most fun I've ever had working on that show.
So how long are you, I guess, on your hiatus now? Because you're
more.
So you're just going to sit around and wait?
I've been doing exactly that. I'm oddly good at it.
What a life.
I know.
That is so fantastic. Stay away from skinny cows.
I will absolutely
Try
do
the
that.
Edie's fruit bars.
No, I just want...
Their peach ones are great.
Want real ice cream. Well, peach Edie's.
Ryer's Oreos.
If they're natural. Yeah, see, now we're talking.
There you go.
Now we're getting closer to the real deal.
Or a favorite of mine is Friendly's Black Raspberry.
I love Friendly's. I have good memories about going to Friendly's as a child.
Who doesn't?
Getting a fribble.
Fribble, or the, when your parents would actually pay the extra, 50 cents to get you the sugar cone instead of the cheap cone that falls apart?
Yeah, worth every penny.
So good. Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.
I appreciate it. Go see Difficult
you.
People. It's on Hulu. You have no excuse. It's definitely good. Our friend James Urbaniak is in there as well. Billy Eichner from Billy on the Street. It's an amazing show. Go check it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.